Sushila Karki-led government marks its 100 days in office. Government formed after Gen Z movement promises of a timely election and accountability. High-level probe commission records 150 statements on incidents of Gen Z movement. Prime Minister and Home Minister to be summoned. RSP Chair Lamichhane being released from custody. Former Home Minister set to pay around $212,000 for release. U.S. ends its diversity visa lottery program. Decision marks major shift in U.S. immigration policy affecting thousands of aspiring immigrants worldwide. EU agrees for 90 billion euros loan for Ukraine. Putin warns of severe consequences if frozen Russian assets are used. And AFC fines ANFA $2,000 for causing delay to start of its November 18 match against Malaysia. Malaysian Football Association also slapped fine. Good evening, I am April Singh Lama and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in details. Nepal's government led by Prime Minister Sushila Karki completed 100 days in office since its formation on September 11 following the Gen Z movement. Tasked with organizing the House of Representatives election scheduled for March 5, the government has focused on creating an environment for free, fair and peaceful elections. During its first 100 days, the government implemented measures to honor victims and injured individuals from the movement, including financial support and declaring 45 individuals as martyrs. It also restored damaged public infrastructure, ensured continuous public services and provided free medical care to injured citizens. To promote transparency and good governance, the administration filed over 30 major corruption cases in court, empowered accountability agencies to operate independently and introduced an immediate reform action plan to improve public service efficiency. Likewise, contracts for more than 250 stalled projects were reviewed, with approximately 40 cancelled to ensure effective implementation. We take a look at this and more on our cover story later tonight. Now, the Investigation Commission formed to probe the incidents of September 8 and 9 has so far recorded statements from 150 individuals. Statements from senior officials of the security agencies and top civil servants have already been completed. The Commission is preparing to send letters within the next week to the then Prime Minister and the Home Minister requesting them to appear for statements. According to the Commission, statements are being collected from individuals involved in the incidents, including cases of arson, vandalism and violent activities based on collected facts and evidence. Member of the High-Level Judicial Investigation Commission, Bigyanraj Sharma, said it will take statements from the then head of government ministers and any other relevant individuals regarding the events of September 8 and 9, conduct an impartial investigation and recommend actions accordingly.
त्यसकारण अलिकति समय लाग्यो हो हामी अब छिट्टै बोलाउँछौं चाँडै आएर त आफ्नो भनाइ स्पष्ट गर्ने जन मेरो संलग्नता थिएन भन्ने कुराहरु उहाँले प्रश्नाउने आधार हो नि त यो नआएपछि त जन के हुन्छ नि त छानबिन गर्नलाई त जनसंघ हुन्छ नि त्यही आइदिनु राम्रो हुन्छ.
Yesterday, the government extended the Commission's tenure by 1 month after its 3-month mandate ended. Now, Rashtriya Swatantra Party RSP chairperson Rabi Lamichhane is set to be released from custody today following an order by the Butwal bench of the High Court, Tulsipur. The release comes after completing the necessary legal and procedural formalities. A division bench of judges Basudev Acharya and Tejnarayan Podal had ordered Lamichhane's release on 3 conditions. The court's order specifies that any liability arising from damages must be acknowledged and covered through proper documentation before release. Lamichhane submitted approximately 10 million rupees, that is approximately $60,000 as part of bail previously ordered by the district court, and the High Court has now set the total bail amount at 30.74 million or about $212,000 for his release. The court confirmed that Lamichhane will be released only after bank guarantee verification and completion of all required paperwork. The former Home Minister has been in custody in connection with the misappropriation of funds from the Butwal-based Supreme Cooperatives, while he is set to be released. Co-accused, including former Deputy Inspector General and former Gorkha Media Director Chabilal Joshi, remain in custody. Moving on, President Ramchandra Paudel has issued the First Amendment Ordinance for the House of Representatives elections according to the President's office. The ordinance was issued under Article 114, Clause 1 of the Constitution on the recommendation of the Council of Ministers. Yesterday, the Cabinet decided to recommend to the President the amendment of Schedule 1 of the House of Representatives Election Act 2074 to align the law with the population data from the 2078 National Census. The government stated that the amendment is necessary to conduct the House of Representatives election scheduled for March 5, 2026 using the latest census figures. According to the final results of the 2021 National Census, the amendment aims to adjust the population percentages for Dalit, Indigenous and Khas Arya, Madesi, Tharu and Muslim communities. We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. This is NTV World Primetime News. Welcome back. Now, a day after electing its new working committee through the 11th National Congress, the CPN-UML held its first meeting of the newly elected Central Committee. Its re-elected chair of the third time, KP Sharma Oli, emphasized unity, discipline and collective responsibility while addressing the meeting. Oli said the party bears a huge responsibility as the country faces challenging times and urged Central Committee members to carry out their duties with utmost devotion. The 11th National Congress of the CPN-UML elected 19 office bearers and 301 Central Committee members. Traders and business owners in Rohtak have protested against the government's decision to close the Taxpayer Service Office. The protest was held today at Gaur Bazaar under the leadership of the Rohtak Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Business participants said that shutting down the Taxpayer Service Office would make the tax payment process more complicated, force service seekers to travel further, and create additional problems for small and medium-sized businesses. They demanded that the government immediately withdraw the decision. The Rohtak Chamber of Commerce and Industry stated that the Taxpayer Service Office must be maintained within the district and warned that the protest could be intensified in phases if necessary. Moving on, President Donald Trump has suspended the United States Green Card Lottery program following last week's mass shooting at Brown University, which left 2 people dead. Authorities say the suspect, a Portuguese national who was later found dead, had entered the U.S. through the diversity visa lottery in 2017 and was guaranteed permanent residency. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the program has been paused under President Trump's directive, citing concerns over public safety and national security. The diversity visa lottery offers up to 50,000 immigrant visas each year through a random selection process for applicants from countries with low immigration rates to the United States. In a social media post, Noem noted that the president had previously sought to end the program following the 2017 New York truck attack that killed 8 people. The U.S. government has deported 75 Nepalese in the latest move of Trump administration's crackdowns on illegal immigration. According to Tikaram Dhakal, spokesperson at the Department of Immigration, 75 Nepali nationals landed at the Tribhuvan International Airport in Kathmandu Thursday on a chartered aircraft. According to Dhakal, of the 75 deported, 69 are male and 6 are female. Nepal Police's human trafficking cell interrogated with the deported nationals upon their arrival in Kathmandu. According to police, except for a couple of individuals, most of the deported individuals had entered the U.S. territory illegally. International news coming up next. For now, a short break. Welcome back. European Union leaders have reached an agreement to provide Ukraine with a €90 billion loan after failing to secure consensus on using frozen Russian assets to fund support. The deal was finalized after more than a day of negotiations at a summit in Brussels. EU leaders said the loan package would help cover Ukraine's military and economic needs over the next 2 years. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had pushed for the use of approximately €200 billion in frozen Russian assets. However, Belgium, where most of the assets are held, sought guarantees on sharing legal and financial liability, a condition other member states were unwilling to accept. Now, on the other side, Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that there would be severe consequences if the European Union uses frozen Russian assets to finance Ukraine's efforts to repel Russia's military assault. Speaking at his annual press conference, Putin was asked about proposals within the EU to use the frozen assets to support Kyiv. He described such a move as robbery and cautioned against carrying it out. The warning comes amid ongoing debates within the European Union over whether frozen Russian assets should be redirected to support Ukraine's military and economic needs. Now, Bangladesh has been rocked by widespread unrest following the death of Sharif Osman Hadi, a prominent youth leader of the country's 2024 pro-democracy movement. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Dhaka late Thursday and into Friday, demanding justice for Hadi, who died in a Singapore hospital from gunshot wounds sustained in an assassination attempt last week. The interim government has declared a day of mourning and deployed police and parliamentary forces amid fears of further unrest ahead of national elections. Protesters have blocked highways, set fire to political offices, and vandalized properties linked to the former ruling Awami League. In Dhaka, crowds gathered late into the night, while in Rajshahi, an Awami League office was torched. In Chittagong, the residence of a former minister was attacked and demonstrators blocked a key highway connecting Dhaka with Mymensingh. We'll take a short break here. Stay tuned. India's parliament has passed the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India, Shanti Bill 2025, marking a major overhaul of the country's nuclear energy framework. The upper house approved the legislation on Thursday, a day after it was passed by the lower house. The Shanti Bill replaces the Atomic Energy Act of 1962 and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act of 2010. The legislation is aimed at advancing the development of nuclear energy and the use of ionizing radiation for nuclear power generation in support of national welfare. The law seeks to establish a robust regulatory framework to ensure the safe and secure utilization of nuclear energy. It provides for the constitution of the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board and the creation of an Atomic Energy Readdressal Advisory Council. The bill proposes a unified legal framework governing the production, use, regulation and expansion of nuclear energy and ionizing radiation across India. One of its most significant changes is the removal of the effective state monopoly over nuclear power generation. Now, moving on, farmers from the Rural Coordination Trade Union of France sprayed cow's blood on a facade of the Tran-et-Garonne prefecture in Montauban in southern France. This comes as part of a dramatic protest against the French government's cattle culling policies. The protest comes amid widespread frustration among French farmers over mandatory culling measures imposed to prevent the spread of bovine diseases, including bovine tuberculosis and other contagious livestock infections. Farmers argued that the policies are overly aggressive, often targeting healthy animals and causing significant economic and emotional strain on rural communities. France, the European Union's largest agricultural producer, has faced recurring tensions between farmers and government authorities over disease management and livestock health regulations. EU rules require member states to contain outbreaks of certain animal diseases, but farmers across Europe have increasingly voiced opposition to what they consider excessive slaughter orders and ineffective disease control measures. Now, heavy rain and stormy weather swept through Saudi Arabia's capital on Friday, covering Riyadh's skyline in thick fog and leading to the closure of schools across the city and nearby regions. The National Center of Meteorology, NCM, issued a weather warning for Riyadh and Diriyah effective from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m., forecasting severe conditions including strong winds, near zero visibility, hail, flash flooding, and thunderstorms with lightning. In response to the hazardous weather, the Riyadh Education Department suspended in-person classes for the day, moving all instruction to remote learning platforms such as Madrasati and other approved systems. Education officials said the decision was made based on official meteorological reports and reflects a precautionary approach to protect students and staff amid unstable weather conditions. Time for sports update. The Asian Football Confederation AFC has slapped $2,000 fine on the All Nepal Football Association ANFA for delaying start of a match against Malaysia under the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers second leg fixture on November 18. According to AFC's disciplinary and ethics committees, the punishment comes after Nepal caused a delay to the commencement of the first period of the match by 1 minute and 20 seconds and a delay to the commencement of the second period of the match by 1 minute and 30 seconds. The AFC says that the punishment has been imposed as per Article 2.2 of AFC Competition Operations Manual, and for now must pay the fine within 30 days as per the rules. The Football Association of Malaysia has also been fined $2,500 under the same clause. Now, Nepal's President Ramchandra Paudel has unveiled the mascot of the 13th edition of Kinder Olympic program today. At a special program organized at the office of the President, Sheetal Niwas, President Podol also handed over the Olympic torch to Binod Shrestha, chairperson of the Nepal Student Sports Federation. The 13th Kinder Olympic program is taking place from this December to the 27 to 30 at Dasrat Stadium at Tripureshwar, Kathmandu. The Federation and NSSF Kinder Olympic Committee are jointly organizing the sports event where students from preschool and primary school will compete in 12 different games. Now, African football's top teams and biggest stars are set to take center stage at the CAF Africa Cup of Nations 2025 begin in Morocco on Sunday. Defending champions Ivory Coast will aim to retain the title they won in 2023, while host nation Morocco, along with Egypt and Senegal, enter the tournament as pre-tournament favorites. The competition will bring some of the continent's most prominent players, including Mohamed Salah, Ashraf Hakimi, and Victor Osimhen, set to feature. The tournament will open on Sunday with the host nation Morocco facing Comoros in the opening match. A total of 52 matches will be played during the competition. Now, before we wrap up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. Susila Karki-led government marking its 100 days in office. Government formed after Gen Z movement promises of timely election and accountability. High-level Probe Commission records 150 statements on incidents of Gen Z movement. Prime Minister and Home Minister to be summoned. RSP Chair Lamichhane being released from custody. Former Home Minister set to pay around $212,000 for release. U.S. ends its diversity visa lottery program. Decision marks major shift in U.S. immigration policy affecting thousands of aspiring immigrants worldwide. EU agrees for €90 billion loan for Ukraine. Putin warns of severe consequences if frozen Russian assets are used. And AFC fines ANFA $2,000 for causing delay to start off its November 18 match against Malaysia. Malaysian Football Association also slapped fine. That is all for NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website www.nepaltelevision.com for more information and news. I'm Iprula Gising Lama. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting, PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it.
NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for public service broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Home Bahadur Tamam, a gifted Thanka artist from the spiritual heart of Bodha, has turned his craft into a global bridge between tradition and business.
Thanka चाहिँ मैले 1970 सिक्न सुरुवात गरेको. मेरो टिचर चाहिँ म भन्दा अघिल्लो मेरो दाइ हो, साइला दाइ. मेरो चाहिँ बाउपादेखि नै कलाकार हुनुहुन्थ्यो. पाटन, भक्तपुर, छामेल, दरबार स्क्वायरमा यसै पसल बेच्ने काम हुन्थ्यो. अनि त्यो बेच्दा मैले यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ विदेशीले किन्दो रहेछ, आफैले विदेशसँग बेच्नुपर्छ भन्ने अलिकति मनमा मलाई अलिकति सोच आयो. त्यसपछि मैले 2050 सालमा यहाँ सुरु गरेँ, आजभन्दा 32 वर्ष अगाडि.
What began as a young artist's journey through the streets of Kathmandu has blossomed into a thriving enterprise where sacred art meets business and tourism. With every brushstroke, Home brings Nepal's rich spiritual heritage to the world, transforming Thanka painting into a symbol of cultural fusion.
त्यो बेला चाहिँ पसल कोही पनि यहाँ थिएन, किनभने त्यो मार्केटले चाहिँ कहाँ मार्केट हुन्छ भन्ने खोज्दै रहेछ. त्यो खोज्ने क्रममा म यहाँ आइपुग्यो. विदेशीहरू पनि यहाँ त्यति अहिले जस्तो बस्दैन, 5 मिनेट 10 मिनेटमा घुमेर जानुहुन्थ्यो. त्यतिखेर खाने रेस्टुरेन्ट पनि एकजना मात्रै थियो, एउटा मात्रै थियो. अहिले चाहिँ होस् त्यो बेला र अहिलेमा धेरै आकाश जमिनको फरक भएको छ.
His story is one of passion, innovation, and a deep commitment to preserving tradition while embracing the future.
विशेष गरी यो बौद्ध स्तूपसँग रिलेटेड छ. यो बुद्धको शिक्षासँग रिलेटेड यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ संसारको मानिसहरू यो स्तूपलाई घुम्ने क्रममा यो प्रार्थना गर्ने मेन आउने ठाउँ चाहिँ यो रहेछ. त्यसो भएको हुनाले यो चाहिँ विशेष गरी ओल्ड हेरिटेज साइटमा चाहिँ त्यो पनि के हो बुद्धिस्टको भएको हुनाले चाहिँ नेपालभरि कुनै थाङ्का बिक्ने ठाउँ चाहिँ अति महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ यो नै हो वास्तवमा, किनभने रिलेटेड छ यो बुद्धसँग.
From the hills of Ramechhap to the heart of Bodha, Home Bahadur Daman has a glorious story to tell. A story of will, determination, struggle, and success.
म आफै पनि रामेछाप दुर्गम जिल्लामा जन्मेको चाहिँ रोजगार छैन, त्यहाँ स्कुल छैन, कलेज छैन, हस्पिटल छैन, रोजगार छैन. त्यसपछि म पनि रोजगारकै क्रममा यहाँ आएर मैले सुरुवात गर्यो. अहिले चाहिँ म लगभग 49 वर्ष भयो यही पेसा गरेर दाल भात खाएको. अब नयाँ पुस्तालाई पनि मैले हस्तान्तरण गर्नुपर्छ है भन्ने मेरो एउटा उद्देश्यले चाहिँ अहिले मैले नयाँ पुस्तालाई चाहिँ गाउँबाट आउनुहुन्छ स्कुल सकेर अनि बिहान चाहिँ कलेज जानुहुन्छ दिउँसो काम छैन त्यस कारणले मैले 3 महिना फ्री ट्रेनिङ दिने गरेको छ उहाँको स्किल अन्त टेस्ट गरेर हामीले यहीँ तलब दिएर जस्तो बिहान कलेज पनि भ्यायो उसो कति हो त्यसो त्यहाँबाट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम चाहिँ 5 घण्टा 6 घण्टा 7 घण्टा मैले पनि यहाँ जीवन चलाउने चाहिँ काम भइरहेको छ अहिले
For 49 years, he painted, taught, and empowered young artisans. Today, his school preserves tradition and creates futures.
हामीले यहाँ सुरुमा इन्टरभ्यू लिन्छु त्यसपछि 1 हप्ता चाहिँ नि सानो क्यानभासमा हात ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु त्यसको शरीरको बडीहरू अलिकति ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु अनि 1 हप्तापछि ओके भनेर ओके या यस भने कोही मानिस नसक्ने चाहिँ नि आधा घण्टामा 1 घण्टामा उठेर गइहाल्छ म सक्दैन ढाड दुख्यो किन उसको मन धेरै भएर गयो त्यो सक्दैन उ आउँदैन एक दिन पनि आउँदैन मात्रै आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो हामीले अपाङ्गलाई पनि सिकाएको छ जस्तो बाहिर कान नसुन्ने पनि सिकाएको छ आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो त्यस्तै हो
As interest in Buddhism grows worldwide, so does the appreciation for our sacred art. Foreigners now come not just to admire but to learn, studying our architecture techniques and meditative Thanka traditions, giving new life to what was once known only within our borders.
बुद्धिज्म नेपाल हो नेपालमा जति छन् विश्वसम्पादकमा सूचीमा भएको मठ मन्दिर गुम्बा छ यसैबाट उहाँले पनि सिकेको वास्तवमा यो जुन बौद्ध स्तूपरा भनौँ लुम्बिनी त्यो जस्तो त उहाँहरूले बनाउन सक्दैन तर यसको चाहिँ एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण के छ भगवान या चाहिँ दोस्रो तेस्रो बुद्धको रिलिटिक यहाँ छ जति चाहिँ अहिले संसारमा यो बुद्धिज्म फैलिँदै जान्छ यो महायान बुद्धिज्म त्यतिकै ठाउँको भ्यालु चाहिँ बढ्दैछ अहिले जस्तो मेरै कुराहरू मैले 40-45 वर्ष यति ठाउँको महत्त्व थिएन किनभने वर्ल्ड वाइडमा बुद्धिज्ममा थिएन विदेशहरूले जानेकै थिएन उनीहरूले त्यो सुरु आउँदाखेरि सानो एउटा नेपाल आउँदाखेरि सुपर नेट किन नलैजाऊ भन्ने मात्रै लाइन थियो अहिले चाहिँ उहाँहरू चाहिँ जस्तो अमेरिका युरोप तपाईँको यो सिङ्गापुर ताइवान मलेसिया विभिन्न देशमा चाहिँ अहिले बुद्धिस्ट प्र्याक्टिसनर धेरै उहाँहरू चाहिँ गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ त्यस कारणले भविष्यमा यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ छ यसको मार्केट छ
As an artist, entrepreneur, and a master, he feels fulfilled, creating beauty, guiding others, and living with purpose.
मैले संसार जीवन जगतलाई थाहा पायो अहिले हामी सांसारिक जीवन छ सांसारिक जीवनमा कसरी जिउने र अर्कोलाई पनि कसरी जिउन दिने कला थाहा पायो त्यसपछि अब जुन देशमा जन्मे पनि जुन कुलमा जन्मे पनि 100% निश्चित के हो भने मृत्यु छ त्यो त निश्चित हो नि एउटै निश्चित छैन कहिले पनि निश्चित छैन तर त्यो मर्नेमा म कसरी मर्ने भन्ने कला पनि थाहा पाएँ मलाई त धेरै परिवर्तन भएको छ मैले परिवर्तन भयो भने के हुन्छ मैले ठुलो पचेरो चढ्यो ठुलो गाडी त्यस्तो होइन तर मलाई खुसी छ सादा दाल भात खान पाएछ मैले परिवार पाल्नु पाएछ यही थाङ्गाले म जापान घुम्यो युरोप गयो चाइना घुम्यो बुद्धिस्ट कन्ट्री सबै घुमेको छ सबै ठाउँमा मैले घुम्नलाई मलाई पैसाको आपत पनि परेन थाङ्गा सँगसँगै लान्दै ब्रिफिङ गर्दै बेच्दै दर्शन बेचेको हो त्यसकारण मलाई त एकदम खुसी छु म त पनि
वादी नीलम जो है ये चिलाने से शुरू होता है तो भर तक, ये एक पूरे एक वादी है और इसको वादी नीलम कहते हैं। और हमारा गांव जो है ये दुबारियाँ सेरी ये हमारा गांव है, और ये गांव तकरीबन यहाँ ये ऊपर और ये जगह भी उसी में शामिल है जिस जगह हम बैठे हुए हैं, ये भी दुबारियाँ सेरी में शामिल है। और हमारे गांव की आबादी तकरीबन जो है ये 250 घराना है, तकरीबन 3000 की आबादी पर मुश्तमिल ये गांव हमारा है। इस इलाके में जो है ये एक तो चश्मे है ज़्यादा उनका है, दूसरा फिर जंगलात है। जंगलात में ये हरे हरे दरख्त हैं जिसमें देवदार भी है, फर भी है, काइल भी है। ये सब्ज़ा ज़्यादा होता है और सब्ज़ा की वजह से फिर ऊंची ऊंची पहाड़ियाँ हैं, ये बहते हुए दरिया, इसकी वजह से इसके अंदर ज़्यादा खूबसूरती है। फिर बिलखुसूस यहाँ पर रत्ती गली जो है ये तो सब यहाँ मशहूर जगह है, बहुत खूबसूरत झील है वहाँ पर, और ये पूरा इलाका बड़ा खूबसूरत इलाका है। पहले ज़माने में जब हम लोग छोटे छोटे थे ना, उस वक्त ये था कि यहाँ बिजली और दीगर चीज़ का कोई इंतज़ाम नहीं था। हम लोग ये क्या करते थे, छोटे छोटे जब स्कूल पढ़ते थे तो हम ये देवदार जो है दरख्त, इसकी वो लकड़ियाँ नीचे से निकालते थे छोटी छोटी, जिसको हम अपनी ज़ुबान में दिल्ली कहते हैं। कुछ अरसे बात हुआ है ये लालटेनें जो हैं ये आई, और इसमें हम तेल लाते थे, वो तेल डाल कर बस थोड़ी देर के लिए जलाते थे ताकि तेल भी थोड़ा इस्तेमाल हो, इसलिए कि पसमानदा इलाका था, इधर इतने वो वसाइल नहीं थे कमाई के, दीगर मामलात नहीं थे जिसकी वजह से लोग ये चीज़ों को इस्तेमाल कर सकें। टीवी भी नहीं था, दीगर और ज़रूरियात भी नहीं थे, ये मोबाइल वगैरह ये कुछ भी नहीं था, तो जिसकी वजह से बिल्कुल ये था, ये समझ लें कि हम पत्थर के ज़माने में रहते थे। तो हमने सोचा यार हमारा गांव सबसे पीछे है, लिहाजा हम सोचें कि यहाँ पर तरक्की होनी चाहिए, हमारे गांव के लोग आगे जाएं। लकड़ का ये टरबाइन बनाया और पहली लाइट जो है ये मस्जिद में जलाई, वो जब एक बल्ब जला उसकी रोशनी, तो हमें उम्मीद होगी कि हम ये काम कर सकते हैं। फिर हम अपने गांव वालों के साथ मिले कि भाई आओ हम मिलकर मुश्तरका तौर पर इस काम को करते हैं। तो हम 2003 में पहली मरतबा जब हमने इस बिजली का जो इब्तदा किया है, 2 गाँव में हमने बिजली का इंतज़ाम कर लिया, तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह उसके बाद ये इंतज़ाम शुरू हुआ, जिसकी वजह से काफ़ी सारी तरक्की भी हुई गांव में अंदर और बहाली भी आई। इस बिजली की वजह से हमारे जंगलात जो हैं ये थोड़े बहुत महफूज हो गए। फिर अच्छे तरीके से जो बच्चे तालीम हासिल नहीं कर सकते थे, जिनके पास वसाइल कुछ भी नहीं थे, अब वो बच्चे आकर अपनी तालीम, मसलन दिन को स्कूल जाते हैं दूर दराज, शाम को जब वापस आते हैं रात 11 बजे तक बैठकर रोशनी का इंतज़ाम है, उसमें अपने स्कूल का वो जो सबक उस्तादों ने रात का काम होमवर्क घर का दिया होता है वो उसको कर लेते हैं, उसमें आसानी हो जाती है, ये दुश्वारी नहीं होती।
हमने अगर किसी को बुरे वक्त में छोड़ दिया, हमने अगर किसी का साथ नहीं दिया, तो अल्लाह क्या है नाराज हो गया, अल्लाह ने हमारे लिए भी मुसीबत डाली।
तमाम शहरी कानून की नज़र में बराबर और कानूनी तहफ़्फ़ुज़ के मुसावी तौर पर हकदार है। जिन्स की बिना पर कोई इम्तियाज
उसके हवाले से फिर हम इसके लिए ग्रीन का इंतज़ाम करते हैं, इसके लिए बेल्ट का इंतज़ाम करते हैं, और जो बंदा हमने मुलाज़म रखा है उसको खोलने बंद करने का, चलाने का, लाइन में बुलाने की करता है, जो उसमें अखराजात होते हैं, इसकी ज़रूरियात होती है, और जब आप लोग हमें नहीं, इसका हमने ऐसा अपना सिस्टम रखा हुआ है कि हम जो हमारे 3 गांव हैं यहाँ से ऊपर, उनमें हम महीने में 1 मरतबा उनके साथ मीटिंग करते हैं, उन सब मेम्बरान को जमा करते हैं। एक कमेटी बनी हुई है, 6 रुकनी कमेटी है, तो उसमें बाकायदा एक सदर है, जनरल सेक्रेटरी वगैरह, ये सारा पूरा एक सेटअप है। तो जब हम बैठते हैं कि भाई अब इसको हम आगे इसके अंदर कोई बेल्ट की ज़रूरत है, ग्रीस की ज़रूरत है, दीगर जो भी ज़रूरियात हैं, तो उनके साथ हम बैठकर मीटिंग करते हैं। तो हमको जो चीज़ ज़रूरत पड़ती है कि अब इस पर इतने अखराजात हैं या इसकी नाली जो है वो टूट जाती है, उसके लिए ज़रूरियात पड़ती है, तो हम आपस में बैठकर कुछ पैसे जमा कर लेते हैं। तकरीबन 16 अगस्त 2022 को जब फ्लड आया तो उस फ्लड में ये सारा कुछ सिस्टम तबाह हो गया था। 2 जनरेटर हमने लगाए हुए थे, 15 kV का वहाँ पर था और 30 kV का इधर था। तो ये वो भी दोनों ख़त्म हो गए, उनका कुछ भी नहीं मिला। ये टर्बाइन थी, इसको तोड़ दिया था। ये पुली नई हमने मंगवाई, ये भी, ये नलके जो सब थे, ये नया सिस्टम हमने पूरा किया इसका दोबारा। जब ये बिजली आ गई ना, तो इसकी वजह से ये हुआ कि जो हमारे मुतल्लिकीन थे उन्होंने गेस्ट हाउस बनाए। जब गेस्ट हाउस बना दिए तो उनके अंदर ये हुआ कि जब ये टूरिज़म आते थे वहाँ पर उनको इंटरनेट और दीगर सहूलियात मैसर होती थी। जब बिजली होती है तो फिर वो सारी सहूलियात उनको मैसर हो जाती हैं, तो इससे ये हो गया खुशहाली होगी। फिर लोगों ने जब टूरिज़म आना शुरू हो गए तो लोगों ने अपनी जीपें ख़रीद ली, कुछ लोगों ने अपने घोड़े ले लिए। तो जीपों पर यहाँ से आगे रत्ती गली तक ले जाते हैं, 18 किलोमीटर का फासला जो है वहाँ पर लोग चले जाते हैं। वहाँ से आगे तकरीबन 2 किलोमीटर या 1.5 किलोमीटर है, वहाँ पर घोड़ों के ज़रिए से लोग ऊपर झील पर पहुँच जाते हैं। वहाँ पर रोज़गार मुहैया हो गया लोगों को।
तो इधर 15 साल पहले लाइट आई है, हाइडल पावर, तो इधर अपना हाइडल पावर बनाया। फिर पहले लाइट का बहुत ज़्यादा इशू था, लाइट नहीं थी, हाइडल पावर बने, मिल के सब लोगों ने काम किए, तो अब कोई मसला नहीं है लाइट का। टूरिस्ट वगैरह भी आते हैं तो आसानी से कमाई होती है। हमारे जो मर्द हजरात हैं वो उधर टूरिस्ट उधर होते हैं, गेस्ट हाउस पे होते हैं, तो उधर वो चला रहे हैं, तो घर पे हम खाना बना के ख़वातीन हजरात भेजती हैं उधर खाना, मिल के हम काम करते हैं सारे पे। गुजारा सही है, अच्छी तरह से गुजारे से भी सही है, अच्छा बनता है, सब कुछ निज़ाम सही चलता है।
तकरीबन 11 साल हो गए मुझे यहाँ टूरिज़म पे काम करते हुए। और जब हम इस वैली में आए थे, 20 साल पहले फायर आया, जब हम इस वैली में आए थे तो उस वक्त कुछ भी नहीं था यहाँ। और ये हमने तकरीबन 2005 में ये वैली ओपन हुई थी, और उसके बाद 2008 में ये बिल्डिंगें लीज़ पे गई हैं, और 2012 में हमने इसको स्टार्ट लिया है। तो उसके बाद हमने काम करते करते माशाल्लाह अभी काफ़ी टूरिज़म भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया है। और उसके बाद अभी काफ़ी लोगों ने गेस्ट हाउस भी बना लिए हैं यहाँ पे।
हमारे इलाके में जब जगह कम हो जाती है, गेस्ट हाउस में जगह नहीं होती, तो फिर अपने घरों में भी जो कमरे इजाफी होते हैं उनमें इनको ठहरा देते हैं। जब वो आते हैं उनको देसी खाना हम लोग खिलाते हैं। जब वो लोग खाते हैं ये चीज़ें देसी, वो खुश होते हैं, तो वो अपने तौर पर तोहफे के तौर पर जो है उन लोगों के साथ जो जो भी अपने घर में रखता है वो ताउन कर लेते हैं।
Every dawn begins with a promise. Light will return. For the people of Nepal, the sun is not just a star in the sky. It is an eternal witness to labor, to love, to loss, and to life itself. The scriptures call it Aditya, the giver of vitality, the sustainer of truth. Farmers bow to it before planting their seeds. Mothers pray to it for the well-being of their children. To the people of Nepal, the sun is not a distant deity. It is divinity made visible, and that reverence is best manifested in Chhat. The festival where dwellers of the plains gather to thank both the rising and the setting sun.
This Chhat festival is a Hindu Vedic festival which is not only celebrated in India and Nepal these days. It has transcended to all the frontiers. Previously, it used to be celebrated in India and Nepal only. But these days, the devotees who belong to Hinduism or from Islamic community, even they are celebrating abroad. Since this festival is the celebration of the nature and it promotes organic way of life, it promotes pollution-free atmosphere and environment, this festival has reached to all the walks of life because it promotes equality. As you could see that the devotees at the same pond, no matter whichever caste or class they belong, they are considered to be equal.
The roots of this festival lie deep in the ancient plains of Mithila, a cultural landscape shared by Nepal and India, where faith, soil, and sunlight have long shaped life itself. From its earliest mention in the Vedas to its celebration today, Chhat has journeyed through centuries and civilizations, changing form, yet never losing its spirit of purity, discipline, and gratitude.
It's a 5-day festival. The first day is called Marua Mas Barnai. Barnai means to refrain from. In that day, the devotees take a pledge to refrain from consuming non-vegetarian food and garlic and onion made food items. And the second day is called Nahai Khai. In that second day, the devotees first take bath, then offer prayers to the sun god, and then consume pure food. The third day is called Kharna, and in that day, the devotees take fast till evening and break the fast with the prasada of kheer and banana. On the fourth day, we could see the Sandhya Arghya, that is evening prayers. All the prasada which is offered to the sun god, each and every prasada is offered to the sun god by standing in the waters. And the same thing is repeated in the fifth day, that is called Usa Arghya. Usa means the prayer for the rising sun.
The festival unfolds over 5 days, each with distinct rituals and a shared focus on devotion. Families prepare offerings, maintain sacred spaces, and observe fasts while communities gather along water bodies, including river banks and ponds, to offer prayers to the rising and the setting sun. Women play a central role in organizing the rituals and guiding younger generations, while men and children assist in preparations. The collective participation reinforces family bonds and community cohesion, bridging generations in a shared cultural practice.
The women of our part of the world, they do rigorous fasting for the long life of their husband and children. They are at the central role in this festival. छठमा महिलाले मात्रै पूजा गर्ने होइन, पुरुषलाई पनि छठमा जोसुकैले पनि छठमा पूजा गर्न पाउनुहुन्छ। यहाँ कुनै जेन्डरको बायस छैन। तर हाम्रो वुमेन इम्पावरमेन्टलाई कहाँसम्म यसले रोल प्ले गर्दो रहेछ सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्ट गोल्समै हेर्ने हो भने जेन्डर इक्वालिटी कुरा गर्छ वुमेन इम्पावरमेन्टको कुरा गर्छ देयर इज नो युज अफ संस्कृत मन्त्र देयर इज नो रोल अफ पण्डित देयर इज नो एनी होली टेक्स्ट which will prescribe the modality of the Chhath celebration.
The festival emphasizes the cleanliness of rivers, ponds and the banks, which are central to the rituals. These practices reflect an understanding that devotion is inseparable from responsibility towards nature. The festival demonstrates how religious observances can reinforce sustainable interaction with natural resources, promote environmental stewardship, and instill awareness about protecting water, soil, and the surrounding environment.
Once the Chhath festival concludes, we forget the messages which Chhath festival intends to give. Chhath talks about the pollution-free water bodies, the pollution-free sand, the pollution-free soil, and the pollution-free atmosphere. But the thing is that we often forget these messages. And the governments could uphold these messages if they could come up with certain policies while enlisting this Chhath and or promoting this Chhath festival in the UNESCO or in some other policy mechanism. They could draft some policies or they could draft some provincial laws which could enlist our water bodies as a natural body.
Chhath also supports local economies and traditional practices. Families rely on only locally sourced fruits, vegetables, and bamboo baskets, while vendors sell traditional items for the festival. Home-prepared offerings and locally produced goods strengthen community livelihoods and ensure that cultural indigenous skills and knowledge are preserved. By linking tradition with practical benefits, Chhath sustains both social and economic aspects of the communities and celebrate it.
This festival could be used as a bridge to connect the people from all walks of life, to connect the people from hill and tarai, to connect the people from each and every community member. So this festival could emerge as a festival of social cohesion. And beyond this, we could unite our community in a bond of equality and in a bond of community spirit.
From Mithila to Kathmandu and beyond, Chhath bridges regions and generations. Its observance in urban centers and abroad shows how cultural traditions can adapt while maintaining the festival's essence. The rituals connect younger generations with their heritage and ensure the continuity of cultural knowledge. The festival continues to adapt to modern contexts while maintaining its historical roots, ensuring that the traditions and responsibilities it embodies remain relevant for future generations.
The Holy Scriptures also talks about Chhath festival. Lord Sita had performed Chhath festival after Lord Rama came from Banvasa. And once Ram Rajya was established, Goddess Sita had performed Chhath for the well-being of Ram Rajya, for the well-being of the Ayodhya people. It's in Ramayana, Sita had performed Chhath, and in Mahabharata, we could see that Kunti and Pandavas, they had also performed Chhath.
Practices become culture, good practices become religion, and Chhath reflects a tradition that transcends boundaries, uniting communities across the Mithila region. In the flatlands, where summer temperatures often exceed 40 degrees Celsius, the sun becomes both sustainer and foe. Yet, despite the intense heat, devotees endure fasting, prepare offerings, and perform rituals with unwavering discipline and reverence. In facing the sun in this way, they demonstrate resilience, faith, and a profound connection to nature, showing that devotion can persist even under the harshest conditions.
Music, dance, food, art and devotion are the lifeblood of Newar culture, an ancient civilization rooted in the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. With lively festivals nearly every fortnight, the Newars celebrate life through a rich tapestry of traditions known as Jatra. Artificial intelligence has moved rapidly from being a futuristic concept to something deeply embedded in our everyday lives. From how we communicate and learn to how economies grow and governments make decisions. But as AI expands globally, it also raises important questions about inequality, inclusion, power, and responsibility. Today, we'll explore what AI really is, how it's being used across different societies, who benefits most from it, and what risks come with its rapid adoption. Most importantly, we'll discuss how AI can be shaped in ways that are fair, inclusive, and accountable for a world that is far from equal here on NTV World Insight. Please join me in welcoming our guest for today's program, Neil Chetri, who is a professor at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and a research fellow at Kobe University. He holds a PhD from University of Rhode Island. Professor Chetri, welcome to NTV World Insight.
Thank you so much for having me, Saraji.
Well, to start with, in the simplest of terms, what is artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence is basically simply put, it is about simulating human intelligence by machines. The way it works is basically machines exactly acquire different types of information. They understand the rules, how exactly all those different information is processed, and apply those rules to reach into some conclusion. So machines do that, actually simulating human behavior. And over time, they also self-correct and learn from feedback, so that the ultimate goal is to become exactly like human being. And okay, the ultimate goal is to become human, not only like human being, because they can process information much faster, maybe 100 times faster or even 1,000 times faster. But the main idea is to be like human being.
Across the world, across cultures and geographic region, how are we using artificial intelligence, knowingly or unknowingly?
Yeah, actually we are using artificial intelligence pretty much all the time. For example, in Nepal, let's say, most people have smartphone. If you are using smartphone, if you are writing me a text and there is some recommendation, okay, what the next word is possibly going to be, you don't have to really type, and the phone is suggesting you something, and that is artificial intelligence.
The predictive thing.
Exactly. And that is a simple artificial intelligence, not very sophisticated. If you are using Microsoft Word and typing things, and it will basically suggest some words or make some spelling errors, correct that, and that is also artificial intelligence. If you are using social media, then maybe what exactly the social media is recommending you, that is also artificial intelligence. If you are buying product from Amazon or other websites, and based on what exactly you did in the past and your certain type of profile, they recommend you something, that is also artificial intelligence. So more advanced use could be if you are driving a car and the future is self-driving car, and they also use artificial intelligence. And also pretty much used in different areas, like even farmers are making a lot of good use of artificial intelligence, and pretty much across all industries they are using artificial intelligence these days.
Do you think socio-economic factors come into play when it comes to accessing AI or using AI?
Of course, yeah. AI, when you talk about socio-economic factor, if we want to take advantage of AI, for example, we need advanced infrastructure. One example could be 5G, the 5th generation cellular infrastructure. And actually Nepal currently doesn't have. And if we consider the low-income countries, only 4% of them have 5G. And if you go to high-income countries, 85% have. Of course, they are in a position to take advantage of that. And more educated people are more likely to use, and there is also generational gap. Compared to older people, younger people are more likely to use. And if we compare, for example, in the university setting where I work, and actually students are more likely to use than teachers. And if you go to the corporate world, some departments like technology, innovation, R&D are more likely to use than other more traditional departments like those kind of human resources and marketing. And of course, there is a big gap if you go to more advanced countries and a higher proportion of population and more companies use, and if you go to more economies in the global south or developing countries, and a lower proportion of people use that. And also there is a gap between big companies and small companies, and pretty much all big companies take advantage of AI, but when you go to small and medium-sized enterprises, and lower proportion use AI. So I mean there is difference across all different demographic profile of people, structure of companies, and global south, global north, and different corporate setting, and yeah, there is a lot of difference.
UNDP just released a report earlier this month, and they have warned AI could widen inequalities between countries because of unequal starting points in infrastructure, in skills, and also governance. How real do you think is the risk, and who should be responsible for managing it?
Yeah, that is a real risk actually. Basically, if we look at all the big technology companies developing AI solutions, currently there are about 25,000 of them developing different types of solutions. But if you look at all of the ones that they are currently coming, they are from the Silicon Valley in the US. So pretty much all the US companies are dominating, followed by China. China has also companies like DeepSeek. So basically, it is coming from either developed countries countries like the US or some European countries like France, and there are also some initiatives in the Middle Eastern countries like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia and China. So we are not really creating a lot of AI in Nepal, or we are not creating at all in countries like Nepal and India. And so it has also something to do, when you talk about AI, there are different generations of AI, and mainly everyone understands the second generation of AI, generative AI like ChatGPT. Specifically, that type of AI requires, it is about kind of training the AI model in all the content which is available freely on the internet. And if you go to the internet, more than 60% of the content on the internet is in English language. So they automatically benefit those English language speaking people, and so most content, most of the AI models are in the English language. If you go to other languages like even Hindi, actually, Hindi has more than 500 million people speaking Hindi, but pretty much they cannot really find anything in Hindi and written to train the things, to train the AI model. So that is viewed as low resource language. So basically, it is being created by the developed countries, more powerful companies like OpenAI or Microsoft or Amazon or Google or Chinese companies. And so basically, if we do not do anything, those technology powers might dominate. But at the same time, if we take action as soon as possible, countries like Nepal and less educated people, smaller companies, and let's say there is a small company, there is a big company. Big company is not using AI, not making good utilization of AI, but small company is doing. In that case, the small company can not only catch up, can even leapfrog the big company. So the thing is, if we do not, the marginalized communities and developing countries or small companies or less educated people, if they do not take action right now, and definitely the gap between the rich and poor countries might be even wider. But if they take action, they might be able to narrow the gap. So it all depends on what all the actors are doing or likely to do in the future.
You very well touched upon the linguistic divide that we are witnessing in AI. But before jumping into that, you mentioned that countries like Nepal and India are lagging behind in progressing in AI sector.
Right.
But when we look at India, it's naturally more advanced than us. They have more access. They are a bigger economy as well, emerging giants of Asia.
Right.
So what do you think are the factors that you would put Nepal and India into the same bracket?
Right. It is mainly the linguistic thing. And they have a little bit more advantage. The reason is Hindi has 500 million people speaking that language, and that means it is commercially more attractive for Silicon Valley-based companies to develop model in Hindi language. So that is the advantage that has. And an example is the NVIDIA company, the graphic processing unit company based in the US, and they developed a Hindi language model collaborating with some of the big companies in India. And so actually there is no Hindi available in the internet to train them, because apparently even if they have to tweet and they have to do Facebook posting, and they apparently try to do in English in India. But what they did was they created synthetic Hindi, means they were just writing Hindi, many sentences of Hindi just to train the AI model. They could do that. And also there were Indian companies to work with NVIDIA to develop those models. So they have that advantage. But Nepal is a small country, and there are 124 different languages. And actually, apparently Nepali language, that is a lot of people speak, but still that is first language for less than 50% of the population. And so it is not really commercially attractive to develop for the Silicon Valley-based companies. And of course, there are probably less linguistic resources in Nepali available than Hindi. And also there may not be a lot of big technology companies in Nepal. So one advantage they have, which Nepal doesn't have. Although both languages in India and languages in Nepal are kind of, they call low resource language. And actually in India, a lot of people speak English, but that is less than 10% of the population. 10% is a big number actually. Out of I don't know, 1.4 billion people, 10% becomes many times bigger than Nepal. So they have that advantage. Even those English speaking people can take advantage of that. But apparently in Nepal, those people whose first language is English is really small, maybe something like 100,000 or even smaller than that. So that advantage they have in India, which Nepal doesn't have, and economically a little at a higher position. So those are the differences.
When we talk about inclusive AI, many scholars and academicians have had the privilege of attending your presentations on inclusive AI. But apart from language and resources, what else factors can we consider in making AI inclusive?
Right, yeah. And just going to the basic of inclusion, and actually inclusion is a term when everyone talks about the diversity, equity and inclusion, and the basic idea in inclusion is no one is excluded and no one is marginalized. That is the basic idea in inclusion. And when we go to AI, the inclusion means everyone, all individuals, all communities have some role in the AI ecosystem. When you say AI ecosystem, we mean how AI is developed in hardware and software and how AI exactly used. Everyone has that. Everyone can benefit from. Everyone is protected by AI, and basically no one is excluded from the AI ecosystem. And that is the basic idea in inclusion. And there are many factors in AI. And so basically I have in the paper that I'm developing. Actually, this is a part of a book that I'm working on, AI for all. So AI should be for everyone, for farmers, for low-income group, for people working in the manufacturing. And so in the inclusion, I have basically identified 5 pillars, and one is if the AI is causing harm to the society or it is benefiting. That is the first pillar. And how affordable AI is for individuals and small companies. That is the second pillar. And if the AI really represents the values, cultural value or the linguistic values of the society, that is the third pillar. And if we can really own the AI, we have the agency power, we can act. That is agency and ownership is the fourth pillar. And the fifth pillar is if AI is basically, there is the transparency factor, accountability factor if something goes wrong, or the AI companies, they can be held responsible for the outcome from the AI. So those basically 5 important things about inclusion that I have identified in my book that I'm working on currently.
Let us further explore on these 5 pillars. The first one you mentioned about harm.
Right, yeah.
What are the risks and harms? In what ways can the users feel the effect or impact?
Right, harm basically means that I can give you an example. Probably example can illustrate that better. And so there was the AI developed by Elon Musk. The name was Grok, and it was being used in South Africa. And so basically, whatever the things from the knowledge of the community, and it is not included in AI, and that might harm the society rather than helping them. So when they ask in South Africa, ask any question to Grok, and it was saying this white genocide and people killing all these white people is a real thing, and that is racially motivated thing, and basically. And it is, and the AI was saying that my creator has asked me to tell that. And basically, it is not the knowledge that is coming from the South African community. It is kind of some type of knowledge being controlled by the Western power. And this type of thing might be harming the society because it is against the value system of the society. That may be one harm. And other types of harm could be like there is the type of misinformation and deepfakes, and people are making wrong decisions because of the deepfakes, and they may not be able to identify they are the real thing or they are just created by AI. And if people are taking wrong action based on that, that might harm the society. Or there might also be some type of bias. And so if you are using AI to screen people, and it might exclude certain type of people from kind of some type of job. Or actually, if you use the AI setting, and apparently depending on the words that people in different racial backgrounds might use different type of words in their essay or different type of assignments, and it is just penalizing certain type of words, and all those are harming people actually. So there are a lot of benefits definitely AI can create, and so I should not talk about harm only, and there are actually benefits, and there are all these applications being used by farmer, and they are basically the first generation of AI, not the second generation AI. There is one in plant village Nuru in Africa, and they can identify all these different diseases in plant. And there is another one, farmer chat, and there is also a lot of different types of AI being used by farmer, and they are being able to identify the disease, and it exactly tells farmer what to do, identifying that type of disease when they upload that on their cell phone. And so actually a lot of farmers are already benefiting and increasing their productivity of 40%, 70% in countries like Kenya. So that is benefit, but there are also harms that I have to mention. So AI should benefit and not harm the society to be inclusive. That is the idea in benefit and harm.
The example that you mentioned of the harm, it sounds very scary when AI is being used for misinformation and disinformation. Who is the onus on to combat this so that we do not face scarier consequences of it?
Right, and actually this is a really complicated area because where I live in the US, there is kind of like freedom to express, our First Amendment, and so whatever they are putting on the internet being created by AI, that is not necessarily illegal, and companies cannot necessarily control that. So basically, I think one area is that type of thing, and always technology, any type of technology develops faster than regulations, and regulators are always busy all over the world doing other things, not controlling all this, not really controlling. And if AI is really harming the society, and it is probably regulators' job and the politicians and the policymakers' job to make sure that AI does not harm the society, and they might have to collaborate with all the private companies, creators of AI, to make sure that it benefits the society rather than harming the society. But those types of regulations are not really there. And when you talk about, for example, deepfakes, and there are about this year, currently they say that there are at least 8 million deepfake videos circulating on the internet, but there are really no laws. And there are a little bit laws, and if they are using some type of relation in intimate relation, and someone is putting deepfake, and that is illegal in some countries, and if they are using some type of thing in election or political thing, that is illegal, and all other types of deepfakes are not currently illegal in many parts of the world. And actually countries like Nepal do not really have any law to kind of act against deepfakes. So basically, basic thing is regulators and policymakers and the private companies and communities and all those should work together to minimize the harm in the long run.
Nepal government recently introduced AI policy, and it also envisions developing the country into an AI hub.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think there's potential in there?
Yeah, it is. If the government does a lot of things, first thing is regulation. It is easy to write regulation. They can do in one day. Writing regulation is the easiest thing in the world. But the most important challenge is enforcing that, making sure that the regulations people can benefit from that, and the economy can benefit from that. And that is one thing. And regulations and policy in themselves do not really mean anything. But if it is possible to develop AI in Nepal, and it is, but there is a lot of work that is needed for that. Actually, Nepal currently doesn't have any AI data center. AI data center means there are a little bit data center, not a lot, and they are really smaller ones. And AI data centers are the special type of data centers which are needed to develop AI and develop AI models. And also other types of data center could be when we ask ChatGPT or any type of AI, where exactly that information is processed. That is the data center for inferences, making inferences. And so Nepal doesn't have any of them currently. Without data center, we cannot really do a lot of things. And another challenge is Nepal has 124 different languages, and I mentioned earlier, and Nepali is spoken by a lot of people, but less than 50%. And actually, if we look at the most popular generative AI solution right now, which is the OpenAI ChatGPT, and ChatGPT supports, last time I checked, they support 95 different languages officially. Nepali is not one of them. You might ask in Nepali, and it might give some answer in Nepali, but it is not really officially supported. If you ask anything, like if you ask this Singhadarabar, or if you ask, I actually asked about my village, which is Baksila in Khotang district, and the answer ChatGPT was giving was really, it doesn't make any sense at all. So it is not trained in the, we are not just talking about the Nepali language, but we are talking about a lot of words and a lot of terms and a lot of things about Nepal. They are not trained on that one. So, and it is not officially supported. And if we go beyond Nepali, like the top 5 languages are, I think, Bhojpuri, and one is Tamang, and those languages are not supported by ChatGPT. And so in the long run, probably we should not depend on these Western countries, Silicon Valley-based companies, and Nepal should be able to do something to develop develop Nepali language AI model, so not using OpenAI ChatGPT, which is not really accurate, doesn't work very well in Nepal. So that is the first step, creating data set and kind of working with these AI companies, developing AI startups, encouraging them and developing those could be important. And also another thing could be, personally I think, and I have talked with many people, that AI should be required in grade 1, grade 2, 10, and no one should graduate without learning how AI works. And AI doesn't have only the positive sides, and AI has a lot of negative sides. And so rather than pretending that AI does not exist in the world and everyone has to accept that the fact that AI is here, AI will not go away, and how to make best use of AI. So it should be required in the curricula from schools to colleges to universities, and all these educators must be trained in AI. So those are some of the important things for Nepal to do, to develop, like taking advantage of AI.
I think open platforms like ChatGPT and DeepSeek are accessible to so many people, and we are using it on an everyday basis.
Right.
Do you think there are any cognitive impact of using AI so much, or depending on AI so much?
Right. Yeah. They say that there are actually, and but I think the way that our cognitive thing in the past. Like different types of cognitive. One of the important things they talk about is in university, in educational setting, is they call critical thinking. So, and the claim many people are making is that critical thinking, and people do not have that type of thinking. But I think critical thinking these days is different. The meaning of critical thinking is different. So critical thinking right now is to figure out what exactly AI can do, what are the limitations of AI, what is AI's role, what is my role as a human being, how to work together with AI to achieve whatever I want to achieve my goal. So that is the most important thing. And maybe some part of cognitive system might not be working, but other parts might be better. That is the thing. Some part definitely is declining, but other part of cognitive thing will be improving. But overall, I don't think that people will be really losing any cognitive power, just using different part of brain probably, because we have to get work done in a different way compared to the past.
We have gone through many stages of technological advancements to reach in this era of AI.
Exactly.
What's next?
Oh yeah, the next is, I think we have the kind of the predictive AI, as you were saying, AI, they have been doing since 1940s, and they did a lot of things, and it was not possible to develop that time AI because we need very powerful computers, and all those things did not exist, and we have kind of powerful computers at a very low price. Anyone can develop, that is one thing. But the most popular AI that everyone is talking about right now is the second generation, generative AI. And already there are kind of a lot of applications of the third generation, which is called the agentic AI. So agentic AI is something that basically it acts autonomously. And if you just give your goal, whatever you want to achieve, and the goal might require, let's say, 1,000 different tasks. And right now, like generative AI, like ChatGPT, can perform only one task. But the agentic AI, basically, if you tell the AI your goal and 1,000 tasks it figures out, and it can create 1,000 different AI agents, and there will be one coordinating agent which coordinates the activities of all of those things and achieves the goal. That is not even future. In some areas they already exist. Actually, in cybersecurity, there is a company in Israel, Twin, and it has it was an employee they call the Alex. Alex is a virtual employee, and it is smarter than most of the human cybersecurity employee. And you can hire Alex at a very, very low cost compared to hiring a kind of human cybersecurity personnel. And so basically that Alex can identify any threat that your company is facing, can figure out all the different things it needs to do, can create agents to perform the specific task, and can take action. And actually in many areas, like in healthcare, there is this company known as Hippocratic AI in California, and it has a lot of different agents, it has different nurses, and basically many hospitals can employ at a very, very low cost performing all those different things. And so in marketing, there is a company like Salesforce, and Salesforce has a lot of these Salesforce says that it will have billion different agents working different sales and marketing functions in the future, and Microsoft also adds some kind of 11 different agents and agentic AI solutions. So agentic AI already is here, but there are some limitations. The data should be of very good quality, which is not the case, and basically a high degree of autonomy is not really possible. And there is autonomy, but companies do not want to give a high degree of autonomy. Maybe in the future, you and I may not be doing shopping anymore. Basically, we might have shopping agent, and the shopping agent will have all our credit card information. It has all the information, and if you need a new pair of shoes, automatically it knows your preferences, it knows your brand, and basically it looks at millions of pieces of information about that brand, and it will order for you. And basically, and that thing is already agentic AI Actually, it is already here, and so although not widespread in many different areas, so it is already here. And actually, going further than that, and just before going that, I might have to mention one thing that. Right now, this year, only US companies are investing about $400 billion in AI solution. And in 2028, companies worldwide are estimated to invest about $3 trillion only in data center, because all this information that I was talking about, they have to store that information, they have to analyze, they have to process in data center. So it is real thing. And actually one thing is, no AI company is really making any money, and so everyone is losing. And what is the ultimate goal? Ultimate goal for all these companies in whoever becomes the first one to create, superhuman, super intelligence, or they call and even before that, they call the artificial general intelligence. And the idea in artificial general intelligence is, it is exactly like human being, all the things human being can do, all the cognitive things that human being do, and the AI will have, like a human being will be able to process information, analyze information, feel and evaluate different sources of information, create new things. It can do all the things that human being can do. Not only that, faster, because already there are many AI solutions that can process and that can do things 100 times faster than human being. But they can do only in one narrow area. Maybe they might be doing some robotics thing in factory, or ChatGPT, or maybe there might be AI system only for agriculture, AI system only for manufacturing, only narrow area focusing on. So the future will be exactly like human being, but like thousands of human beings, and they can perform. That is the artificial general intelligence. That is the goal. And people do not agree. I don't know when exactly that will come. Maybe 20 years, 30 years, or 40 years. That is a little far. But actually, the agentic AI, the third generation, is already here. Many companies are already using that, and it is already kind of being more and more like widespread among many different companies.
Mm-hmm. While you talk about all these advancements in the generation of AI, artificial intelligence, and then super intelligence as well, there's also, apart from the benefits, there's also a fear of doom and gloom, maybe.
Right, yeah, that is a real thing. It is possible, actually. So basically, human being creating different types of AI, more advanced AI, just like human being. And not only that, the smart AIs will be creating their own AIs. And who knows, maybe those AIs could be, and they can take action that human beings have never thought of, and that is possible. And for that, actually, again, going back to the earlier thing that I mentioned, maybe the regulators and the AI companies, and the regulators, not only the national regulators, but all these international institutions like the UN and all those have to work together. Actually, local communities who are developing the AI solutions, they might have to work together and develop some ethical thing. And right now, actually, what is ethical, what is unethical, the standard has not been really developed, and so they have to work together to make sure that we can minimize the harm from the potential harm from the AI. So that is really important. That, as you mentioned earlier, about the importance of collaboration.
Professor Chhetri, thank you so much for being on the show. It was lovely having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, as AI continues to evolve, it is clear that its impact will extend far beyond technology, shaping economies, cultures, languages, and access to knowledge itself. The challenge ahead is not just about building more powerful systems, but about making thoughtful choices around governance, inclusion, and accountability. Whether AI becomes a force that deepens divides or one that helps bridge them will depend on the decisions we make today. Thank you for staying with us here on the program. Until next time.
Pashupatinath is located in the eastern part of Kantipur city, approximately 5 kilometers away from Bagmati River. During the Lichavi period, the area surrounding Pashupatinath was known for animal rearing. This region includes Duwasthali, Guveshwari, Gaurighat, Chaba Hill, Ganeshtan, and Kotuwali, all of which are part of the Pashupatinath area. In 1979 AD, UNESCO designated Pashupatinath as a World Heritage Site. The blessings of Pashupatinath have been revered since ancient times, indicating the site's significance long before the Lichavi dynasty. The presence of Jyotirlinga, a sacred representation of Lord Shiva, is mentioned in one of the ancient texts, highlighting its historical and religious importance.
पशुपतिनाथको चाहिँ प्रादुर्भाव पहिला यहाँ चाहिँ एउटा ठुलो ढिस्को भएको त्यो ढिस्को भित्र चाहिँ गरिरहेको हैन अब त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा कृतिपुरतिरको गोपालको गाई चर्न आउँदै रहेछन् त्यो चर्न आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ नि उनले त्यो दूध त्यहाँ आफै स्वतस्फूर्त रूपबाट बगाउँदै रहेछन् त्यो जुन दूध बगाउँथ्यो त्यो बनेको ठाउँमा के हो भनेर हेर्दाखेरि पछि खनेर हेर्दा त्यहाँ चाहिँ भगवान शिवको ज्योतिर्लिङ्ग उत्पत्ति भएको कुराहरू हाम्रो वंशावलीमा पाइन्छ तर भगवान पशुपतिनाथ भनेको अनादिदेखि नै उहाँ चाहिँ वैदिक कालदेखि नै किनभने वेदमा जताततै भगवान पशुपतिनाथको चाहिँ वर्णन पाइन्छ उहाँको चाहिँ स्तुति गान गरिएको पाइन्छ र फेरि हाम्रो शास्त्रले भगवान पशुपतिनाथलाई चाहिँ यो सृष्टिको केन्द्रबिन्दुमा राखेको छ यो सृष्टि जसले गरे हुन त चाहिँ ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वर हामी तीन देवता त्रिदेव भनेर मान्छौँ ब्रह्माले यसको सृष्टि गर्नुभयो त्यस्तै चाहिँ भगवान विष्णुले पालन गर्नुभएको छ त्यसपछि यसको संहार गर्ने चाहिँ को त भन्दा भगवान पशुपतिनाथ शिव
दर्शन गर्ने परिक्रमा गर्ने विधि छ बाहिरी परिक्रमा गर्दाखेरि गौरी घाट गएर पहिला गौरी घाटमा स्नान गर्ने त्यसपछि माथि उठेर किरातेश्वरको दर्शन गर्ने किरातेश्वरबाट तल ओर्लेपछि किरातेश्वरको त्यो भर्याङ ओर्लिसकेपछि गुहेश्वरी नपुग्दाखेरि दायाँ बायाँ जति पनि शिवालयहरू छ त्यो शिवालयको दर्शन गर्दै जाने अनि गुहेश्वरीको ढोका बाहिर पनि त्यहाँ चाहिँ बागमतीको किनारमा पनि विभिन्न किसिमका मूर्तिहरू छन् देवी देवताका मन्दिरहरू छन् त्यो दर्शन गर्ने गुहेश्वरी गएर गुहेश्वरीको बाहिरपट्टि चाहिँ शिवलिङ्ग भयो गुहेश्वरीको भित्र पीठ सबै दर्शन गरिसकेपछि अनि भर्याङ उक्लेर माथिपट्टि हामी गोरखनाथ पुग्छौँ गोरखनाथको दर्शन गर्ने गोरखनाथको अगाडि मनोकामना माईको मन्दिर छ त्यहाँको दर्शन गर्ने त्यसपछि अझै अगाडि गएपछि मृगस्थलीको माथि विश्वरूपाको मन्दिर छ जसलाई जङ्गबहादुरले निर्माण गरेका थियो त्यो एउटा अचम्मको मन्दिर छ कामेश्वरीको शिवजीको विशाल तान्त्रिक विधिले पूजा गर्ने, यन्त्रमा उपासना गरिने ठुलो मन्दिर छ। अहिले भुइँचालोपछि त्यो अलिकति अव्यवस्थित रूपमा छ र त्यसको निर्माण कार्य हुँदैछ। त्यहाँ दर्शन गर्ने। त्यसपछि हामी तल भर्याङ ओर्लिन्छौँ अब बागमती पुल जानको लागि, पशुपति तेह्रमा लाग्नको लागि। त्यो गरिसकेपछि राम मन्दिर दर्शन गर्ने र राम मन्दिर दर्शन गरिसकेपछि खोलाको किनारै किनारा नियमले के भन्छ भन्दा त्यहाँ तीरगङ्गामा गएर त्यो भगवान चाहिँ विष्णु विक्रान्तको दर्शन गर्ने। त्यसपछि फेरि गएर पारिपट्टि गएर वज्रेश्वरी पशुपतिनाथलाई 9वटा देवीहरूले घेरेर बसेको मध्ये त्यहाँ वज्रेश्वरीको मन्दिर छ, पिङ्गलेश्वरी पनि भनिन्छ, त्यहाँ दर्शन गर्ने। अनि बागमती पारी आएर राजराजेश्वरीको दर्शन गर्ने। अनि फर्केर चाहिँ आर्यघाट आउँछ। आर्यघाट लिएर आइसकेपछि मङ्गला गौरीको दर्शन गर्ने। वत्सलेश्वर जस्तो सबै शक्तिपीठ भगवान शिवजीले पनि के भन्छ, पहिला सबै शक्तिपीठहरूको दर्शन गरेर मात्रै म कहाँ आउनु भन्नुभएको छ। त्यसपछि वत्सला देवीको दर्शन गर्ने। अनि त्यसपछि बागमतीको तल किनार ओर्लेर बागमती पशुपतिनाथलाई चढाइएको जुन जल छ, पञ्चामृत जल छ, तल चाहिँ तारकेश्वर भनेर ठ्याक्क लिएर 64 सबै शिवलिङ्गको दर्शन गरेर दक्षिण ढोकाबाट प्रवेश, पशुपतिनाथको दक्षिण ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गरेर दर्शन गर्नु भन्ने चाहिँ उल्लेख छ। र अब अहिले कुरा आउँछ, अहिले पनि भनेको थिएँ दक्षिणपट्टि पशुपतिनाथको दर्शन गर्न आउँदा कीर्तिमुख भैरवको चाहिँ पहिला दर्शन गरेर म कहाँ आउनु भन्नुभएकै छ होइन।
In the Gopal Raj dynasty, King Supuspadev described Pashupatinath as Varna Vyavastha. Following Supuspadev, every subsequent king incorporated the name of Pashupatinath within their own names. King Vaskar Dev offered 3 kosh to Pashupatinath, Brishdev presented a Trishul, Dharmadev contributed a Brishjos, and Narendra Dev offered various kosh made from different materials. Finally, Jayadev offered a lotus to Pashupatinath.
अहिले हामीले पूजा गर्ने शिवलिङ्ग भनेको चाहिँ नि 14औं शताब्दीको हो, त्यो भित्रको चाहिँ। तर पशुपति क्षेत्र मन्दिर भित्र त्यो भन्दा पुराना अरु मन्दिर मूर्तिहरू पनि छन्, अन्य शिवलिङ्गहरू पनि छन्, जसमध्ये यो पशुपतिको मन्दिर भित्रै परिसर भित्रै एउटा एकदम पुरानो मन्दिर र जसमा भएका मूर्तिहरू पनि एकदम राम्रो मूर्तिहरू छन्, जसमध्ये त्यसमा के छ भने ब्रह्माको मन्दिर भन्छौँ हामी। अब ब्रह्मा चाहिँ नि सनातन धर्मावलम्बीहरूले जब त्रिदेवको पूजा गर्न थाले, ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वर भन्ने 3टा देवताको पूजा गर्न थाले, त्यसमा ब्रह्मा सृष्टिकर्ता भए, विष्णु पालनकर्ता भए र शिव संहारकर्ता भए। यो 3टै देवताको पूजा हुने क्रममा विष्णु र शिव चाहिँ निको एकदमै व्यापक भयो पूजा। तर ब्रह्माको विभिन्न पुराणमा विभिन्न कथाहरू छन्, ब्रह्माको पूजा नगर्ने चलन छ। यो पशुपति भित्र ब्रह्माको मन्दिर भनिने हामी पश्चिम ढोकाबाट पसेपछि देब्रेपट्टि पर्छ यो मन्दिर जुन शिखर शैलीमा बनेको छ। यसमा चाहिँ यो मन्दिरको बाहिरपट्टि थुप्रै पुराना मूर्तिहरू छन्। शिखर शैलीमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने गर्भगृहमा मात्रै मूर्ति स्थापना गरिँदैन, मन्दिरको बाहिर पनि मूर्ति स्थापना गरिन्छ।
During the Malla dynasty, the offerings made by the kings to Pashupatinath can still be seen today. Among these offerings, Lord Shiva at Pashupatinath received a copper roof and chadi and kamal. Finally, King Jai Singh presented a gold-made mekhla and a grand jatra was conducted.
हामीले प्राचीन कलाकृतिको कुरा गर्यौं भने लिच्छवी काल अथवा लिच्छवी काल भन्दा अघिको हामीसँग ढुङ्गाका मूर्ति मात्रै छन्। काठको किन भएन त भन्दाखेरि कसको आयु कति हो, ढुङ्गाको चाहिँ लामो आयु हुने भयो, तर काठ चाहिँ छिटो बिग्रिने हुनाले काठका मूर्तिहरू चाहिँ हामीले लिच्छवी कालको पाउँदैनौँ। अन्तिम लिच्छवी कालको भनेको के छन्, तर अहिले हामी उभिएर हामीले काठमाडौँमा हेर्यौं भने हामीले देख्ने जति पनि मन्दिरहरू छ, हामीले देख्ने जति पनि विहारहरू छ, जति पनि दरबारहरू छ, पार्टीहरू छ, त्यहाँ प्रयोग गरेका सबै काठका कलाकृतिहरू कुनै पनि हामीसँग लिच्छवी कालको छैन। त्यो सबै मल्लकालको पनि अन्तिम मल्लकालका केही पुराना मल्लकालका 1-2वटा छन्, किनभने काठ लामो समयसम्म बस्दैन।
पशुपति क्षेत्र नेपालको एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण सम्पदा क्षेत्र हो, जुन चाहिँ विश्व सम्पदामा पनि सूचीकृत छन्। र यो विश्व सम्पदामा सूचीकृत हुनुको विशेष कारणहरूमध्ये चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ त्यहाँको पुरातात्विक संरचना नै हुन्। त्यहाँ हामीले किराँत कालदेखि भनिएका हामीसँग धेरै मूर्तिहरू छन् र अभिलेखीय सम्पदाहरू हेर्ने हो भने 381 देखिको हामीसँग अभिलेखहरू नै छन् र त्यहाँ रहेका विशिष्ट विभिन्न प्रकारका विभिन्न फेजका विभिन्न कालका सम्पदाहरू अहिले त्यहाँ सुरक्षित अवस्थामा रहेको छ भने त्यहाँ मूर्त र अमूर्त सम्पदाहरू पनि धेरै अगाडिदेखिका मूर्त र अमूर्त सम्पदाहरू अहिलेसम्म पनि कन्टिन्यू नै छ। त्यसमा अब हामीले त्यहाँको पूजादेखि लिएर त्यहाँको जात्रा पर्वहरू धेरै प्राचीन कालका पूजाहरू अहिले पनि कन्टिन्यूमा आएको छ भने विभिन्न समयमा चाहिँ लिच्छवी कालदेखि मल्लकाल शाहकाल राणा पिरियड भएकी सबै काललाई समेट्ने खालको त्यहाँ सम्पदाहरू त्यहाँ रहेको छ। त्यो हिसाबले पनि यो एउटा नेपालकै विभिन्न फेजलाई प्रतिनिधित्व गर्ने र मात्र काठमाडौँको होइन कि देशभरिबाट नै यो सम्पदा यो पशुपतिलाईको त्यहाँ आदरको रूपमा आउने भिजिट गर्ने ठाउँ भएको कारणले यो सांस्कृतिक रूपमा पुरातात्विक रूपमा र ऐतिहासिक रूपमा पनि अत्यन्त महत्त्वपूर्ण स्थलहरूको रूपमा रहेको छ। त्यसैले आधार लिएर हामीले विश्व सम्पदामा सूचीकृत गरेका थियौँ। काठमाडौँ उपत्यकाका 7 वटा मोनुमेन्ट जोनमध्ये यो पनि एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण साइटको रूपमा हामी लिन सकिन्छ।
In 1473 BS, Jyoti Malla renovated Pashupatinath. The priest Nityananda initiated the removal of the 3-story structure of Pashupatinath and reduced it to a single story. Queen Ganga, the consort of Shiva Singh, had the Bhasa Bamsawali written, which is still present today.
राजभण्डारीहरू मिलेर काँचो धागो कपडा किनेर लिएर आएर त्यो पशुपतिनाथको त्यसरी बागमतीमा गएर त्यसलाई शुद्धि गरेर सुकाएर आफैले बुन्नुपर्छ, कसैले छुन पाइँदैन। उहाँहरू बसेर पशुपतिनाथ शङ्कराचार्यको मठ मुनि पान छ, कति दिन अगाडिदेखिको उहाँहरूले चोखो बसेर उपासना गरेर पशुपतिनाथ भित्र लिएर गएर त्यो पवित्र आरोहण चढाउने भन्ने चलन छ। अब त्यो किन गरिएको त भन्दा यो चाहिँ नि जनै पूर्णिमाको अघिल्लो दिन भगवान पशुपतिनाथ चाहिँ त्यो दिन पशुपतिनाथ छोडेर गोसाइँकुण्ड जानुहुन्छ। अघिल्लो दिन जनै पूर्णिमाको अघिल्लो दिन गोसाइँकुण्ड जानुहुन्छ। अब गोसाइँकुण्ड भनेको त हिमाली क्षेत्रमा पर्ने जाडो हुन्छ, भगवान पशुपतिनाथ जाडो हुन्छ भने त्यो लुगा पहिराएको त्यसरी चाहिँ त्यहाँ गर्ने र अनि सर्वसाधारणलाई पनि बाँड्नको निम्ति पटुका के अरे त्यसलाई कुका भनिन्छ, जनै जस्तो बनाएर अनि भगवान पशुपतिनाथ अर्पण गरिसकेपछि त्यसको प्रसादको रूपमा सर्वसाधारणलाई पनि बाँड्ने। बलम्बुमा एउटा नारायणको मन्दिर छ, त्यो बलम्बुको नारायणको मन्दिरमा पूजा गरिसकेर बाँकी रहेको पैसाले पशुपतिनाथमा शोभन जात्रा गर्नु, पशुपतिनाथलाई छाता चढाएर शोभन जात्रा गर्नु भनेर चाहिँ बलम्बुको अभिलेखमा उल्लेख छ। त्यस्तै एउटा अर्को चाहिँ पशुपतिनाथ र चाबेलको बिहार हेर्नुहोस् त, शिव मन्दिर र बिहारको कम्युनिकेसन दुईजनाको समन्वय भएको एउटा नागचा प्याखा भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा नाच छ। त्यसमा चाहिँ नाच नचाउने काम, नाचको ट्रेनिङ दिने, त्यो नाच्नेहरू चाहिँ बिहारले उपलब्ध गराउने, गहनाहरू सबै त्यो जुन महादेव र पार्वती बनेर नाचिने हो, महादेव र पार्वती बन्नलाई जसले गहना लगाउने त्यो गहना लगाउन दिने चाहिँ नि जयवाश्वरी भण्डार तहबिलले दिने, बिहारबाट चाबेलको बिहारबाट नचाउँदै पशुपतिनाथ क्षेत्रमा ल्याउने। यो धेरै वर्षसम्म रोकिएको थियो, तर एउटा राम्रो पक्ष भनौँ फेरि त्यसलाई अहिले जगाइएको छ, फेरि निरन्तरता पाएको छ।
सबभन्दा पुरानो मूर्ति आजसम्म मानिएको अभिलेख भएको मूर्ति चाहिँ नि जसलाई हामी तिलगङ्गा भन्छौँ, तिलगङ्गामा भएको त्रिविक्रम वामनको विष्णुको अवतारमध्ये एउटा अवतार वामन हो। त्यो वामनको अवतारको मूर्ति छ, त्यो चाहिँ सबभन्दा पुरानो मूर्ति हो, अभिलेख भएको पूर्ण अभिलेख, सबै पढ्न सकिने। राजा मानदेवले एउटै समयमा दुईटा मूर्तिहरू स्थापना गरे। एउटा पशुपतिको तिलगङ्गामा स्थापना गर्यो त्रिविक्रम वामनको मूर्ति, अर्को मूर्ति चाहिँ नि लाजिमपाटमा स्थापना गर्यो। दुईटै मूर्तिमा एउटै अभिलेख छ, एकै प्रकारको अभिलेख छ। दुईटै मानदेवले आफ्नो आमाको पुण्य वृद्धिको लागि मैले विष्णुको अवतार त्रिविक्रम वामनको मूर्ति स्थापना गरेँ भनेर लेखेका छन्। त्यसकारण मूर्ति अभिलेख पनि भएको, मिति पनि भएको मूर्ति चाहिँ नि त्रिविक्रम वामनको मूर्ति भयो। तर शैलीको हिसाबले त्योभन्दा प्राचीन मूर्तिहरू छन्। त्योभन्दा प्राचीन मूर्तिहरूमा चाहिँ नि जस्तो आर्यघाटमा भएको विरूपाक्षको मूर्ति पर्छ। विरूपाक्षको मूर्तिको जुन शैली छ नि, त्यो शैली चाहिँ कस्तो भनेदेखि किराँत कालमा शासन गर्ने राजाहरूको जुन शारीरिक बनोट छ त्यो बनोटलाई दर्शाउने खालको मूर्ति छ। त्यसमा अभिलेख छैन, कुनै पनि अभिलेख अहिलेसम्म भेटिएको छैन, त्यसमा कुनै कुरा अङ्कित छैन। तर त्यो विरूपाक्षको मूर्ति स्थापना गरेको जुन मन्दिर हो त्यो मन्दिरमा अरू पनि दुई तीनवटा मूर्तिहरू छन्। र मूर्तिकलाको अध्ययन गर्ने नेपाली विद्वानहरू, विदेशी विद्वानहरूले त्यो गर्भगृहमा गएका मूर्तिहरूलाई लिच्छवी कालभन्दा पूर्वको मानेका छन्, पहिलेको मूर्ति मानेको छन्, जसमा एउटा विरूपाक्ष भयो। त्यसपछि त्यहाँ मृगेश्वर भनिन्छ। शिवपुराणमा शिवले विभिन्न अवस्थामा आफ्नो स्वरूपहरू परिवर्तन गरेका कथाहरू आउँछन्, जसमध्ये एउटा उनले यो मृगको स्वरूप लिएर त्यो वनमा विचरण गरेको कथा छ। र त्यहाँ एउटा मृगको मूर्ति पनि छ। र अर्को चाहिँ नि राजपुरुष पनि भन्छन्, कसैले राजपुरुष भनेछन् किनभने एउटा गद्दीमा त्यहाँ एउटा बलिष्ठ शरीर भएको, अलिकति देख्दाखेरि नै एउटा एकदम स्तरीय मूर्ति भन्छौँ नि हामीले, प्रज्वल खालको मूर्ति छ। त्यसलाई चाहिँ कसैले राजा भनेका छन्, कसैले चाहिँ पछाडिपट्टि सूर्यको जस्तो तेज भएको हुनाले सूर्यको मूर्ति पनि भनेका छन्, त्यो मूर्ति पनि छ। कारण त्यो कोठामा चाहिँ नि त्यो मन्दिरमै भनौँ, त्यो मन्दिरमा 3-4वटा त्यो शेखर शैलीको मन्दिर छ, 3-4वटा प्राचीन मूर्तिहरू छन्। त्यो पनि पशुपति क्षेत्रमा भएको प्राचीन मूर्ति हो। पशुपति क्षेत्रमा थुप्रै शिवलिङ्गहरू छन् जुन अभिलेख भएको पनि छ, अभिलेख भएको पनि अभिलेख नभएको पनि। फेरि शिवलिङ्ग प्राय दुई प्रकारका 3 प्रकारको शिवलिङ्ग बनाउनु चलन छ र 2 प्रकारको बढी प्रचलन छ। एउटा चाहिँ नि हामी सादा शिवलिङ्ग भन्छौँ, जसमा मुख कोरिँदैन, शिवलिङ्ग बनाइएको हुन्छ। शिवलाई पञ्चमुखी मान्ने चलन छ। पूर्वबाट सुरु गरेर तत्पुरुष, सद्योजात, वामदेव, अघोर र ईशान भन्छौँ। पूर्व, पश्चिम, उत्तर र दक्षिण चारैतिर र माथिपट्टि आकाश तत्त्व हुन्छ। त्यो 5वटा मुखको प्रतिनिधित्व गरेर शिवलाई आह्वान गरिन्छ पूजा। कारण पञ्चवक्त्र भन्ने चलन छ, 5वटा मुख भएको शिव। तर त्यो चाहिँ नि कल्पना गरिन्छ, तर त्यसमा मुख बनाइएको हुँदैन। पूजा गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ नि अब सुरुदेखि नै पूर्व दिशा पश्चिम दिशा गरेर बन्यो, त्यस्तो एउटा सादा शिवलिङ्ग भयो। अर्को चाहिँ नि यही 5वटा मुखलाई फेरि मुहार बनाइन्छ। शिव 3टा आँखा भएको त्रिनेत्रधारी हुन्, त्यस कारण 3टा आँखा बनाइन्छ। र शिवले चाहिँ नि गलामा सर्पको माला लगाउने भएर सर्पको माला पनि लगाइएको, हातमा कमण्डलु लिएको, रुद्राक्ष माला लिएको, तर हात त्यसरी शिवलिङ्गमा बनाएको मुखलिङ्ग भन्छ। एउटा सादा भयो, अर्को मुखलिङ्ग भयो। पशुपति क्षेत्रभित्र चाहिँ नि सादा शिवलिङ्ग, मुखलिङ्गमा पनि एउटा चाहिँ हामीले पञ्चमुखको कुरा गऱ्यौँ। अर्को शिवलिङ्ग एक मुख मात्रै पनि हुन्छ, एउटा मात्रै मुख बनाइन्छ। दिशा चारैतिर भयो, एउटा दिशामा मात्रै मुख बनाउँछ। त्यस्तो पनि पशुपति क्षेत्रमा 10-12 शिवलिङ्गहरू छन्। हामीले पशुपति क्षेत्रमा एकचोटि मात्रै पाइला टेक्न पायौँ भने पनि 100वटा अश्वमेध यज्ञ गरेको बराबर पुण्य मिल्छ भनेको छैन। अझ त्यहाँ प्राण जानको लागि मानिसहरूले, त्यही भएर धेरैजना काठमाडौँका बासिन्दाहरू अनि अरू पनि केही रोग लागेर अब मृत्यु नजिक छ भनेर थाहा पाइसकेपछि त्यो आर्यघाटमा आएर त्यहाँ बस्ने घरहरू नै थिए, सेतो घर, रातो घर भनेर त्यहाँ आएर बसेर प्राण त्यहाँ छोड्न पाइयो। अन्तिम अवस्थामा पशुपतिको ब्रह्मलालमा सुतेर पशुपतिलाई चढाइएको जल सेचन गर्न पाइयो र आर्यघाटमा अन्त्येष्टि गर्न पाइयो भनेदेखि त्यो मान्छेले मोक्ष प्राप्त गर्छ भनेको छ। त्यसले गर्दा त्यो क्षेत्र एकदम ठुलो धाम हो।
त्यस्तै पशुपतिनाथमा हुने लिङ्ग जात्रा, कुण्ड जात्रा, उपलिङ्ग जात्रा मध्ये लिङ्ग जात्रा धेरै वर्षसम्म हराएर चलेको छ, तर उपलिङ्ग जात्रा र कुण्ड जात्रा हराएको छ, त्यसलाई फेरि रिभाइभ गर्नुपर्ने छ। अब यस्तै हामीले प्रचार प्रसार गर्नुपर्छ, रिसर्च गर्नुपर्छ, जति अध्ययन गर्यौँ त्यसका व्यवस्थाहरू मिल्दै जान्छन् र कालान्तरमा यो रिभाइभ हुन्छ नै, हामीले गर्नु पनि पर्छ यसलाई।
हाम्रा प्राचीन स्मारक, प्राचीन सम्पदा भनेको हाम्रो पहिचान हो, हाम्रो यसको चाहिँ एउटा मापन पनि हो। हामी कति सभ्य छौँ, हामी कति, हाम्रो सभ्यता कहाँ पुगेको छ भने एउटा मापन पनि हो। त्यो प्रविधि, त्यो मौलिक स्वरूप र मौलिक सामग्रीहरू जुन चाहिँ अति उत्कृष्ट छ, यहाँको भौगोलिक वातावरणको लागि इकोलोजीसँग म्याच गर्ने गरेर हाम्रो पुर्खाले डेभलप विकास गर्दै गर्दै हामी यहाँ पुगिसकेका छौँ भने यसलाई संरक्षण गर्ने दायित्व हाम्रो हो। र त्यस्ता सम्पदाहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले मौलिक स्वरूपमा मौलिक सामग्री प्रयोग गरेर मौलिक प्रविधिबाटै बनाउन चाहिँ हामी सबैले प्रयोग गर्नुपर्छ र हाम्रो सोच पनि त्यही हुनुपर्छ। विकास निर्माणका कामहरू गर्दा पनि त्यस्ता सम्पदाहरूलाई केन्द्रबिन्दुमा राखेर अरू थप विकासका कामहरू, व्यवस्थापनको कामहरू गर्नुपर्छ।
भगवान पशुपतिनाथको मन्दिर रहेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि यो सब हिन्दूहरूको लागि मात्रै, शिव भक्तहरूको लागि मात्रै अथवा चाहिँ शैव मत मान्नेहरूको लागि मात्रै हो कि भन्ने जस्तो मान्छेले बुझेका हुन्छन्। तर पशुपति क्षेत्र भनेको यस्तो स्थल हो, त्यो सद्भावको क्षेत्र हो। त्यो चाहिँ नि सबैको, अब त्यहाँ पशुपति क्षेत्रमा हामी गयौँ भने त्यहाँ विष्णुका मन्दिरहरू पनि छन्, विष्णुका मूर्तिहरू पनि छन्। त्यस्तै शाक्यमुनि बुद्धका, लोकेश्वरका, पद्मपाणीका मूर्तिहरू पनि छन्। चैत्यहरू पशुपति क्षेत्रभित्रै धन्दो चैत्यदेखि लिएर कुटुबैल, चाबियार होइन अनेक बौद्ध धर्मसँग सम्बन्धित चाहिँ हामीसँग कृतिहरू छन्।
The temple's extraordinary design is attributed to the cumulative contributions of successive kings, each leaving their mark by adding distinctive elements to its architecture. This rich history of royal patronage is a primary factor contributing to the exceptional and intricate design of this revered temple.
in your life.
President Donald Trump has suspended the United States Green Card Lottery program following last week's mass shooting at Brown University, which left 2 people dead. Authorities say the suspect, a Portuguese national who was later found dead, had entered the U.S. through the diversity visa lottery in 2017 and was granted permanent residency. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the program has been paused under President Trump's directive, citing concerns over public safety and national security. The diversity visa lottery offers up to 50,000 immigrants a visa each year through a random selection process for applicants from countries with low immigration rates to the United States. In a social media post, Noem noted that President Trump had previously sought to end the program following the 2017 New York truck attack that killed 8 people. After more than 16 hours of talks, European Union leaders have agreed to raise a 90 billion euro loan to support Ukraine over the next 2 years. The decision was reached in the early hours of Friday following a marathon summit in Brussels.
The member states have agreed to finance the Ukraine through EU borrowing on the capital markets for an amount of 90 billion euros for the next 2 years.
The loan will be raised on capital markets and secured against unused funds in the EU's shared budget. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed the move, saying the support truly strengthens the country's resilience, while urging that frozen Russian assets remain immobilized. President Zelensky had called on the EU to use 200 billion euros in frozen Russian assets. However, Belgium, where most of the funds are held, sought liability guarantees that other member states were unwilling to provide. EU leaders say the agreement will help meet both Ukraine's military and economic needs over the next 2 years. The bloc estimates Ukraine requires an additional 135 billion euros to stay afloat, with a severe cash shortfall expected from month of April. Meanwhile, US and Russian officials are set to meet in Miami this weekend for further talks on a peace plan. Separate discussions involving Ukrainian and US delegations are also expected. As European Union leaders meet in Brussels for a summit on Ukraine, Russia has launched a legal action against Euroclear over frozen assets. On Thursday, the Central Bank of Russia announced it had filed a claim with the Moscow Arbitration Court, accusing the Belgium-based clearinghouse of illegally freezing and using Russian assets. The lawsuits seek compensation for the value of the assets, plus profits lost due to their alleged unlawful use. The total amount claimed exceeds 18 trillion rubles, or around $225 billion. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for January 16, 2026. The legal action comes as EU leaders hold a 2-day summit in Brussels. The topic is how to use frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine. Earlier, the European Council confirmed that these assets would remain frozen indefinitely. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Ukraine plans to fully utilize the 210 billion euros, roughly $246 billion of Russian assets frozen within the EU to meet urgent fiscal needs in the coming years. TikTok's Chinese owner, ByteDance, has signed binding agreements with United States and global investors for the majority of its American business, the company announced on Thursday. According to a memo from TikTok CEO, So Ji-Chu, half of the new joint venture will be owned by a group of investors, including Oracle, Silver Lake, and the Emirati investment firm MGX. The deal, set to close on January 22, ends years of US efforts to force ByteDance to sell its operations over national security concerns. It follows a September agreement when then-President Donald Trump delayed enforcing a law that would have banned the app unless it was sold. TikTok says the deal will allow more than 170 million Americans to continue discovering a world of endless possibilities as part of its global community. The United States Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, is set to hold talks in Miami with the senior officials from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey, as efforts continue to advance the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire. A White House official said on Friday that Witkoff will meet representatives from the three countries to discuss the future of the agreement aimed at halting the ongoing violence in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel's public broadcaster reported that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is holding a restricted security consultation to examine the second phase of the ceasefire and possible scenario. An Israeli official warned that a new military campaign against Hamas could be launched if U.S. President Donald Trump disengages from the process, though such a move is considered unlikely as Trump seeks to maintain calm in the enclave. Despite Washington's insistence that the ceasefire holds, Israeli attacks have continued almost without interruption. Bangladesh has been rocked by widespread unrest following the death of Sarif Osman Hadi, a prominent youth leader of the country's 2024 pro-democracy movement. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Dhaka late Thursday and into Friday, demanding justice for Hadi, who died in a Singapore hospital from gunshot wounds sustained in an assassination attempt last week. The interim government has declared a day mourning and deployed police and parliamentary forces amid fears of further unrest ahead of national elections. Protesters have blocked highways, set fire to political offices, and vandalized properties linked to the former ruling Awami League. In Dhaka, crowds gathered late into the night, while in the Rajashahi and Awami League office was torched. In Chittagong, the residence of a former minister was attacked, and the demonstrators blocked a key highway connecting Dhaka with Mymensingh. The Bank of Japan has raised interest rates to a 30-year high, signaling that more hikes could be on the way as the economy shows signs of improvement. In a unanimous vote on Friday, the central bank lifted its main borrowing rate to 0.75% from 0.5%. The move comes shortly after official data showed core inflation in November remained steady but still well above the bank's 2% target. Governor Udaya said next year's wage negotiations are expected to bring solid increases, and the possibility is high that the mechanism of a gradual rise in both wages and price will continue, in line with the bank's main economic scenario. Following the announcement, the yen weakened against the dollar, with the rates now at their highest level since 1995. Analysts say the yen has faced pressure in recent years due to the large gap between US and Japanese rates. A weaker yen has also contributed to higher input prices, fueling inflation in Japan. An iconic giant snowman has returned to Harbin in northeast China, delighting crowds as the city prepares for its peak winter tourism season. Standing 19 meters tall, the snowman appears larger, rounder, and more cheerful than ever. The beloved landmark took 11 days to complete, with the 64 sculptures and over 100 workers carving the figure entirely by hand. Because of limited natural snowfall this year, more than 3,500 cubic meters of machine-made snow were used to achieve a smooth, dense finish. What began as an informal creation by local sanitation workers in 2019 has grown into an annual attraction, marking the unofficial start of Harbin's snow season. This year's edition is the largest, yet drawing huge online attention and serving as a headline highlight of the city's winter festivities. Skiing Ski enthusiasts welcome the season with excitement as snow-covered slopes and festive events mark the start of winter sports in one of Turkey's most prominent winter tourism destinations. On the first day, visitors flocked to Sarıkamış, enjoying skiing on slopes where the snow depth reached 70 centimeters following recent heavy snowfall in the region. Known for its unique crystal snow and scenic runs through pine forest, the results offer ideal conditions for winter sports. Sarıkamış Ski Center features 10 ski slopes of varying length, totaling 30 kilometers of ski track. Throughout the day, skiers and snowboarders experienced the natural beauty of the area, while the evening's official opening ceremony lit up the slopes with a spectacular torchlight snow. Skiers carrying flaming torches descended the piste, delighting spectators and marking the start of the season in style. Officials say the ski season in Sarıkamış is expected to continue until the end of March, attracting winter sports fans from across the region.
सदा भवानी दाहिन रे सदा भवानी दाहिन रे सिद्धन
The Tharu folk literature and folk cultural heritages reflect the prehistoric human civilization to the modern-day Tharu civilization. reduced to minority in their native land. Nonetheless, they were successful in retaining and conserving their cultural heritage that originated in the soils of Western Plains. The lifelong folk dance, traditions and festivities are the examples of their cultural preservation. The Tharus have successfully kept alive traditional practices, spirit, mutual unity and harmony, which are an eminent part of their lives today as well.
Tharus are the indigenous tribes of this place. We have our own typical cultural norms and values, including our own music and culture. Starting from the monsoon season, Tharus rejoice in their own cultural festivals that have their own traditional music. Agriculture is our main occupation, and we are known as hard-working people. Nepal is very rich in cultural diversity, but Tharu culture has its own uniqueness. I believe preserving Tharu culture could be a boon in developing tourism as well in this region. However, it is very important to preserve and promote Tharu culture, especially among the youths. Proper planning and programs to preserve and promote Tharu culture from the government is
Mahatwa actually is more an organization in a Tharu village than an individual. The village leadership is taken as a higher traditional practice in the Tharu autonomous ruling system.
We normally play the role of a facilitator in mediating whenever there are disputes among people of our community. The Matau or the local chief has to take the lead whenever there are accidents like death in our community. Sometimes there are disputes between people of different villages. The Matau needs to take the lead in settling them as well, almost like a judge. On cases of land proportion division to Kamayas or the bonded leverers, people can give their opinion, but the final decision is taken by the Matau. In marriages also, the witness has to be the Matau. Later, if the couple has any problems, the Matau needs to be the one to settle their dispute.
The village senior or Agua, on the instruction of Mahatwa, asks all the villagers to be present at Mahatwa's residence on the eve of Maghi. Khyala is the village council of Tharus, where every decision is taken in consensus of all sides. Tharus share a close bonding with nature, and their folk life exemplifies this connection. During the Maghi, they reach the jungles to pick the leaves and collect timber before dawn. Some go for fishing, as fish is the speciality of Tharu dishes. The male members of the community while the Tharu women get busy in cooking delicious dishes like tikri and making alcohol at home. This kind of cultural activities is not only a necessity, but also a higher degree of practice of unity and teamwork within a village. Songs can be heard playing in the background. Water-filled pots or kalash are placed by villagers on either sides of the road as a gesture of extending greetings, while these footsteps return towards villages from rivers to the tunes of the music. Sprinkling the holy water of kalash, a group of elderly reach the home of Mahatwa to extend greetings and for Maghi assembly. They take a seat after greeting him. Gardhuria, or the households elect the new leader on this very day. The assembly concludes after reviewing the overall activities of the previous year and chalking out the new plans for the new year. This is followed by feast and dance. Women perform the traditional Tharu dance of Maghauta. That falls on the Nepali month of Fagun around February and March. This festival is celebrated by the Tharus ritualistically. Among the various rituals, the ritual of sparking fire after rubbing timber of Ganyari species reflects their primitiveness. The holy fire is using for lighting ablaze the pole. The fire used for lighting the pole is taken to home by every Gardhuria and kept safely. The same fire is used for cooking the food throughout the year. Fag, that is sung marking this occasion, has lusty lines. In the ancient times, it was called Madan Utsov, or festivity of lust or passion. Hence, the month of Fagun in the Nepali lunar calendar is a wedding month for the Tharus. Following the agreement by the family of the girl and the boy for their marriage, Tekoni, a ritual of
पर बद्रीबा तर धरतीबा एक भी लौटबान नहीं करबे ना नहीं करा
On the wedding day, Diuli Darna, a special ritual is marked at the bridegroom's home. The Mahatwa robes a scarf on his head, which is called Pagya. The groom takes out Barchi from his native worship place, Duhar. Taking the Barchi is a symbol of war culture for the bride. While heading to the bride's home, the groom is offered sweet delicacies by his neighbors. The groom then sits on a dola, a wooden carrier, and reaches the bride's home. The bride's mother welcomes the groom with kalash on her hands and circumambulates the groom thrice. The sister-in-laws wash the feet of the groom. The wedding guests from the groom's side enjoy the feast. Tears well in the eyes of bride as she is bidden farewell by her family members. The bride is then carried on the dola to the groom's house. Bhojinya sprinkles rice grains on the yard. A pot full of fire is placed in front of the bride and groom. First the groom, then the bride steps on the fire and reach the duhar. Folk belief has it that stepping on the fire by the newlyweds means accepting each other, keeping the god of fire as a witness. The sisters of the groom then take certain amount as a gift and clear the way for the newlyweds. Bhojinya then receives them and collides groom's head with the bride's. Then she asks the bride to oil massage the groom's feet. After the feast, the celebration continues amid singing and dancing, performing traditional chokra and jhumra dance.
The culturally rich Tharu community of Western Nepal is backward in social and economic fronts. The government must come up with concrete programs to promote Tharu culture right from the local level to the international level. This can be a medium for the social and economic upliftment of the Tharu people. We have launched a campaign to preserve the cultural heritages of Tharu community in Dang, Banke, Bardia, Kailali, Kanchanpur and Surkhet districts.
The Nepali month of Chaitra and Baisakh, or the spring season, is the season of going to the jungles for collecting timber and fodder. The men and women together go to the jungles. They sing Sajana Maina Tharu folk songs while picking leaves or collecting timber. The word Sajana comes from the Hindi language and indicates the folk song has high amount of love and passion, while Maina is the folk song in which the lovers or a girl expresses her inner feelings, symbolizing the bird Maina as a medium. The Tharus have a tradition of holding special worships for the deceased ancestors during this festival. The wife of the Mahatwa prepares a special kind of delicacy, dhikri, for offering it as a prasad or offering to the deceased ancestors. The Mahatwa at the worship place of his residence, Dewhar, offer these special delicacies to the deceased ancestors and the clan of gods and goddesses. After offering all these delicacies, the Dewhar room has to be left in silence. The sacrifice of a wax gourd is taken as an alternative to the existing practice of sacrificing since ancient age. Men, women and youths assemble at the residence of Mahatwa in Dasai to receive tika, blessings and exchange greetings. Tharus have a tradition of putting on a white tika, and it is taken as a practice that began when colors were not created and as a symbol of peace. There is a culture of performing Sakhya and Paya dance from Krishnastami to Dasai in the Tharu culture. In the Sakhya dance, the male members playing the madal play the role of Krishna, while the female dancers role play Radha. Therefore, this dance is performed in two forms, Giti along with a song and Agiti without a song. This dance is performed in 22 musical beats. However, these beats are now in the verge of extinction.
Demonstrative art is an integral part of folk Tharu culture. Sakhya and Paiya folk dances performed during Dasai festival are some examples. It is believed that these folk dances have up to 22 different beats. However, today we hardly find musicians and dancers who can play or perform all these 22 different beats. Only limited beats are performed these days. This demands further research and preservation efforts. Likewise, the Tharu folk literature is equally rich in romanticism. They are found in abundance in Tharu folklores and songs.
The main occupation of Tharu is agriculture. They enjoy in the fields and prefer to toil there. They seek the base of their livelihood through agriculture. They are pursuing their life ahead by being close to the nature. The Tharus believe in traditional values, hence believe the Barka dance should be performed if natural disasters occur. The Mahatawa for the same calls village assembly or Khyala. The Barka dance is organized as per the decision of the Khyala. The Barka, that is a folk musical Tharu drama with Tharu folk philosophies, starts with pious steps of various gods and goddesses and concludes with a sequence of Kurukshetra war from the Mahabharata epic and the ascent to heaven. At the end of the dance, the dancers in guise of 5 Pandavas and Draupadi hide their weapons under the Shami tree, which is believed is a depiction of Pandavas going to the Virat kingdom during their incognito stay or the Agyatbas. As per the Tharu folk belief, keeping the akshata used in this dance with oneself will protect one from evil eyes and spirits and helps in curing various illnesses. There is a local belief that touching the bamboo pole that is a symbol of Shiva Lingam or the phallic symbol of Hindu god Shiva relieves oneself from various physical pains. The Tharu culture that is based on self-identity is at present on the verge of extinction. A generation gap is developing between the older and the younger Tharu generation. Changes are but natural. However, extinction of intangible cultural elements means loss of existence of self-identity, to which community concerned should be sensitive.
Sushila Karki-led government mark its 100 days in office. Government formed after Gen Z movement promises of timely election and accountability. RSP Chair Lamichhane released from custody. Former Home Minister freed after completing formalities following High Court order. Nepal's President issues First Amendment ordinance for House elections. Legal amendment done to ensure population-based inclusive representation. Nail-biting cold sweeps Nepal as temperatures plunge. Seasonal flu cases rise and schools shut down. Tarai districts hit hardest. US to end diversity visa lottery. Policy shift hits global applicants. 75 more Nepalese deported under Trump administration crackdown. And AFC fines ANFA $2,000 for causing delay to start of its November 18 match against Malaysia. Malaysian Football Association also slaps fine. Good evening, I am Ipulagi Singlama. This is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepali time. Now the news in details. Nepal's government led by Prime Minister Sushila Karki has completed 100 days in office since its formation on September 11 following the Gen Z movement. In its first 100 days, the administration focused on preparing for free and fair House of Representatives elections, honoring victims and the injured from the protests, and declaring 45 individuals as martyrs. The government also restored damaged infrastructure, ensured continuous public services, and provided free medical care to those affected. To strengthen transparency and good governance, over 30 major corruption cases were filed, accountability agencies were empowered, and a reform plan was introduced to improve public service efficiency. Likewise, contracts for more than 250 stalled projects were reviewed, with around 40 cancelled for better implementation. Moving on, Rabi Lamichhane, chair of Nepal's Rashtriya Swatantra Party, RSP, was released on bail Friday evening after being detained in Nakku Jail, Lalitpur. The Butwal bench of Tulsipur High Court had ordered his release earlier, overturning a previous denial by Rupandehi District Court. Lamichhane, who faces allegations of misappropriating cooperative funds, completed all formalities in Bhairawa, including submitting $37.4 million, which is approximately $288,000 as bail. Adverse weather delayed his travel from Kathmandu, but he eventually reached Rupandehi District Court at 5 p.m. for his release. The case has drawn national attention, highlighting ongoing concerns over political accountability and financial misconduct in Nepal. Now, President Ramchandra Paudel has issued the First Amendment ordinance for the House of Representatives elections according to the President's office. The ordinance was issued under Article 114, Clause 1 of the Constitution on the recommendation of the Council of Ministers. Yesterday, the Cabinet decided to recommend to the President the amendment of Schedule 1 of the House of Representatives Election Act 2074 to align the law with the population data from the 2078 National Census. The government stated that the amendment is necessary to conduct the House of Representatives elections scheduled for March 5, 2026 using the latest census figures. According to the final results of the 2021 National Census, the amendment aims to adjust the population percentages for Dalit, indigenous, Khas, Arya, Madhesi, Tharu and Muslim communities. Now, a sudden cold wave with dense fog has hit Nepal's Tarai region, forcing school closures in several districts, including Siraha and Kanchanpur. The sharp drop in temperatures has slowed daily activity, with residents relying on fires for warmth. Krishnapur municipality in Siraha announced a 2-day closure for community and institutional schools to protect children's health. Authorities across affected districts have urged people to stay indoors, wear warm clothing, consume hot food and drink, and exercise caution when using fire for heating. Experts note that this year's cold wave began later than usual, signaling potentially warmer conditions later. Moving on, the United States has suspended its diversity visa lottery program following last week's mass shooting at Brown University, which left 2 dead. The suspect, a Portuguese national, had entered the US through the lottery in 2017. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the pause is under President Trump's directive citing public safety and national security concerns. Meanwhile, 75 Nepali nationals were deported from the US, arriving in Kathmandu Thursday on a chartered flight. Of them, 69 were men and 6 women. Nepal Police's human trafficking cell is questioning the deportees, most of whom had entered the US illegally as part of ongoing investigations into unauthorized immigrations. Now, the Asian Football Confederation, AFC, has slapped $2,000 fine of the All Nepal Football Association, ANFA, for delaying start of a match against Malaysia under the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers second leg fixture on November 18. According to AFC's disciplinary and ethics committees, the punishment comes after Nepal caused a delay to the commencement of the first period of the match by 1 minute and 20 seconds and a delay to the commencement of the second period of the match by 1 minute and 30 seconds. The AFC says that the punishment has been imposed as per Article 2.2 of AFC Competition Operations Manual. ANFA now must pay the fine within 30 days as per rules. The Football Association of Malaysia has also been fined $2,500 under the same clause. The US has suspended the diversity visa lottery and deported 75 Nepali nationals, signaling a tougher immigration stance under the Trump administration. This is our issue of the day after the break. You're watching NTV World News Hour. Welcome back. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump has suspended the United States Green Card Lottery program following last week's mass shooting at Brown University, which left 2 people dead. Authorities say the suspect, a Portuguese national who was later found dead, had entered the U.S. through the diversity visa lottery in 2017 and was granted permanent residency. Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem said the program has been paused under President Trump's directive, citing concerns over public safety and national security. The diversity visa lottery offers up to 50,000 immigrant visas each year through a random selection process for applicants from countries with low immigration rates to the United States. In a social media post, Noem noted that President Trump had previously sought to end the program following the 2017 New York truck attack that killed 8 people. The U.S. government has deported 75 Nepali nationals in the latest move of Trump administration's crackdowns on illegal immigration. According to Tikaram Dhakal, spokesperson at the Department of Immigration, 75 Nepali nationals landed at the Tribhuvan International Airport in Kathmandu Thursday on a chartered aircraft. According to Dhakal, of the 75 deported, 69 are male and 6 are female. Nepal Police's human trafficking cell interrogated with the deported nationals upon their arrival in Kathmandu. According to police, except for a couple of individuals, most of the deported individuals had entered the U.S. territory illegally. We'll take a quick break once again. Be back with our cover story looking at Nepal's government 100 days in office under Prime Minister Sushila Karki and how it's preparing for free and fair elections this March. Welcome back. Nepal's government, led by Prime Minister Sushila Karki, completed 100 days in office since its formation on September 11 following the Gen Z movement. Tasked with organizing the House of Representatives election scheduled for March 5, the government has focused on creating an environment for free, fair and peaceful elections. During its first 100 days, the government implemented measures to honor victims and injured individuals from the movement, including financial support and declaring 45 individuals as martyrs. It also restored damaged public infrastructure, ensured continuous public services, and provided free medical care to injured citizens. To promote transparency and good governance, the administration filed over 30 major corruption cases in court, empowered accountability agencies to operate independently, and introduced an immediate reform action plan to improve public service efficiency. Likewise, contracts for more than 250 stalled projects were reviewed, with approximately 40 cancelled to ensure effective implementation. 100 days have passed since Sushila Karki assumed leadership of the government, following the Gen Z-led protests that shook the political establishment and demanded promises of accountability and reform. Our colleague Sarah Sapsanama takes a look at the major activities it undertook during this period.
It has been 100 days since the Sushila Karki-led government was formed in the aftermath of the Gen Z-led protest, a movement that shook the political establishment and forced a promise of accountability and reform. One of its first initiatives was to hold talks with all political parties to build consensus for March 5 election. While dialogue was initiated, deep disagreements persist, keeping uncertainty around the polls alive. The government has formed a 3-member committee under Minister for Law Anil Kumar Sinha to court the ousted political parties, with the outcome yet to be seen. The government also scrapped 90 ailing development projects, including delayed road expansions, stalled urban infrastructure, and costly government buildings approved without clear feasibility. Responding to a core demand of the Gen Z movement, the government officially categorized those killed during the protest as martyrs, recognizing 45 individuals and pledging state support to their families. The government also announced assistance measures, including facilitating foreign employment opportunities for family members who choose to work abroad, alongside skills training and financial support, a step welcomed by families, but debated over long-term sustainability. On corruption, authorities signaled action with high-profile legal cases. Most notably, the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority filed a case at the Special Court against 55 officials over alleged cost inflation and procurement irregularities at Pokhara International Airport, involving tens of millions of dollars in public funds. Those charged include former ministers, senior bureaucrats, and a Chinese contracting company. While the filing sent a strong message, observers stress that credibility depends on convictions, not charges alone. Political instability remained visible as the cabinet was expanded 4 times in just 100 days. Making the governance inclusive could be the point in favor, but the dissatisfied Gen Z activists are still encircling Singadarwar on a daily basis. The formation of the committee to investigate criminal activities during Gen Z movement was an expected move, but term extension without any tangible outcome leaves room to question the efficiency of the committee itself.
खास गरेर भएर अशान्तपूर्ण अवस्थालाई यो सरकारले सामान्यकरणतिर ल्यायो, सामान्य अवस्थामा ल्याउनको लागि कामहरू गर्यो। अहिले अवस्था चाहिँ केही हदसम्म भए पनि सामान्य भएको अवस्था छ। निर्वाचनको चाहिँ सुनिश्चितता भएको छ। निर्वाचन आयोगले चुनावको क्यालेन्डर बनाएर काम अगाडि गरिरहेको छ। राजनीतिक दलहरू चुनावमा अहिले होमिरहेको अवस्था छ। भाग लिनको लागि उत्साही भएको अवस्था छ। जनता पनि चुनावमा अगाडि बढिरहेको अवस्था छ। खास गरेर 8 लाख भन्दा बढी मतदाता नामावली चाहिँ अहिले नयाँ मतदाता नामावली दर्ता भएको अवस्था छ र तपाईलाई भन्दा सरकारको तर्फबाट पनि निर्वाचनलाई चाहिँ स्रोत, साधन, जनशक्ति यी सबै कुराहरूको व्यवस्था मिलाउने काम भइरहेको अवस्थाले चुनाव सुनिश्चित भएको छ र फागुन 21 मा चुनाव हुन्छ।
While political analysts acknowledge that the interim government has attempted to deliver as much as possible within a limited time frame and a fragile political environment, they say there were still clear areas where more decisive action and stronger reforms were needed.
The Prime Minister and her team should have done more to do political consultation, political dialogue with the political parties. They should have brought them on board earlier than they did. They did that in recent months, but I think they were a little bit late. Number two, I think the cabinet members, some of them reacted to the political speeches of the political parties, which I don't think was political. That was not what they were supposed to do. And number three, this government, of course, election, 6 months they have had, that they could have at least started something which would have been more convincing. At least they could have set up the foundation for the new elected government to at least take on.
100 days after a youth-led uprising demanded change, the former Chief Justice-led government stands at a critical phase. The true measure of this government will be whether it can turn the ideals of the Gen Z movement into lasting change, a test that will define both its legacy and public confidence.
100 days in, public opinion on Sushila Karki's government is divided, with praise for reforms but concerns over delivery and transparency. Let's take a look at our public pulse today.
The name of the government itself is caretaking government, so we should wait up to the election, and after that we will be able to analyze if this government is successful or not.
Gen Z आन्दोलन भए त्यो मूल उद्देश्य त्यो नै अहिलेसम्म यो सरकारले हामीलाई अनुभूति गर्न सकेका छैन.
The government was not formed according to the constitution of Nepal. Being a law student, I don't deem this government as constitutional, but it was necessary to solve the political crisis at that moment.
There is assumption that this government was sent to solve the problem of corruption, the problem of good governance, but the mandate provided by the president and the mandate provided by the people itself was not in such an extent that they could do anything more than election.
सुशीला कार्कीको अहिले नयाँ बनेको सरकार चाहिँ अलिकति धेरै कन्फ्युजिङ जस्तो देखिन्छ, किनभने भ्रष्टाचार कम होस् भन्ने उद्देश्यले चाहिँ बनेको थियो, तर असम्म उहाँहरूको उद्देश्य पूरा नभएको कारणले चाहिँ खासै कुनै उपलब्धिमूलक कामहरू गरेको जस्तो देखिदैन.
This government should ensure the right voice and choice of all the Gen Zs, communities, representative martyrs.
The 100 days of current government will mostly focus on unification, because there are a lot of political parties who have different ideologies. This will have planned out a separate ideologies which helps in the development of the country.
A new experience for all of us, and somehow step by step we are developing, I guess, because Gen Zs are the new generation.
I don't think there is a lot progress from the government. If the governance system was good, I don't think Gen Z protest would happen.
We had a very high expectation from Sushila Karki's government, as our Gen Z revolution's major Prime Minister is the Sushila Karki, but she has not done the cases investigation at all. The major task of interim government is to conduct election.
Gen Z सरकारको केही राम्रा र केही नराम्रा कामहरू अहिले देख्न पाइएको छ. राम्रा कामलाई निरन्तरता दियो भने सायद सफलता हुन सक्छ.
The Investigation Commission probing the September 8 and 9 incidents in Nepal has recorded statements from 150 individuals, including senior security officials and top civil servants. The government also extended the commission's tenure as it prepares to summon the former Prime Minister and Home Minister for further testimony. Pawan Akesi with Pawan Barsasha brings more on it.
The Investigation Commission formed to probe the incidents of September 8 and 9 has so far recorded statements from 150 individuals. Statements from senior officials of the security agencies and top civil servants have already been completed. The Commission is preparing to send letters within the next week to the then Prime Minister and the Home Minister, requesting them to appear for statements. According to the Commission, statements are being collected from individuals involved in the incidents, including cases of arson, vandalism, and violent activities, based on collected facts and evidence. Member of the High-Level Judicial Investigation Commission, Vigyan Raj Sharma, said the Commission will take statements from the then head of government, ministers, and any other relevant individuals regarding the events of September 8 and 9 and conduct an impartial investigation and recommend action accordingly.
करिब अब यो 5-10 दिनभित्र उहाँहरूलाई चिठी जान्छ। अब हामी हेर्छौँ किनभने उहाँ भन्दा तलका मान्छेहरूको बयान कति दिन लम्बिन्छ अझै उहाँहरूलाई थप प्रश्न गर्नुपर्छ कि उहाँहरूले दिएको बयानका आधारबाट पनि उहाँहरूलाई प्रतिप्रश्न गर्नुपर्छ। हामीले त्यो कडी जोड्नुपर्छ। त्यसकारण अलिकति समय लाग्यो हो। हामी अब छिट्टै बोलाउँछौँ चाँडै आएर आफ्नो भनाइ स्पष्ट गर्ने छन्। मेरो संलग्नता थिएन भन्ने कुराहरू उहाँहरूले प्रश्नाउने आधार हो नि त। यो नआएपछि त झन् के हुन्छ नि त छानबिन गर्नलाई त झन् शङ्का हुन्छ नि।
In the first phase, the Commission conducted field visits and studies at incident sites across the country. It also has stated that it will prepare and submit its report to the government within the next month. Earlier, the Commission had requested political parties, organizations, and individuals to submit details of damages incurred. Damages were reported at the major administrative centers of the country, including Singadarbar, the Parliament Building, the Supreme Court, various ministries, provincial assemblies, as well as most police stations, private properties, and business establishments. The government, in the meantime, has extended the Commission's tenure by 1 month after its 3-month mandate ended.
Meanwhile, Rabi Lamichhane, chair of Nepal's Rashtriya Swatantra Party, has been released on bail after posting 37.4 million Nepali rupees, around $288,000. He faced allegations of misappropriating cooperative funds. Upon his release, Lamichhane told reporters that he was yet to get justice, hoped he would be ensured justice, and asked everyone to be patient.
न्यायको यो लडाई मेरो बाँकी नै छ। मैले अझ धेरै लड्नु छ र मैले यो लड्नुपर्छ, लड्न बाँकी छ भनेको मेरो लागि भनेको होइन, तपाईका लागि, यो देशको न्यायको लागि लड्नुपर्छ। यिनीहरूले यो देशमाथि गरेको अन्यायको अगाडि ममाथि गरेको अन्याय केही पनि होइन। त्यो सबको हिसाब गर्नु छ। त्यसको हिसाब मिलाएपछि अलि लामो बोलाउला। आजलाई म यति मात्र भन्छु कि हिसाब मिलाउन बाँकी नै छ, न्याय पाउन बाँकी नै छ।
As the government accelerates the classification and support process for individuals injured during the Gen Z protest on September 8 and 9, a special program was held today to honor journalists injured while reporting the demonstrations. The Home Ministry, following a Council of Ministers decision on December 8, is fast-tracking assessments to provide financial aid and livelihood support based on the severity of injuries and disabilities sustained during the protests. At a program today, Minister for Communication and Information Technology Jagdish Kharel highlighted the heartbreaking condition of injured journalists and emphasized the need for an environment where media can report safely and freely. During the program, journalist Sambu Dhungana received 100,000 Nepali rupees, or about $770, while Syam Shrestha, Umesh Karki, and Dipendra Dhungana were awarded 25,000 or $190 each. The event symbolically reinforces the government's commitment to recognizing the sacrifices of journalists while simultaneously implementing the broader support framework for all those injured during the Gen Z protests. Clashes broke out among inmates at Kanchanpur district prison in Nepal's far west, leaving 8 prisoners injured. The violence reportedly erupted following disputes between inmate leaders, the prison guard and other prisoners. Prisoners alleged that the inmate leaders and the guard demanded money per person in exchange for submitting requests for sentence reductions, prompting protests and demands for their transfer. Following the clashes, the prison was placed under heightened security. Inmates had complained about being denied timely meals, allowances, and seasonal clothing. The prison, built to hold 140 inmates, is currently housing 386, contributing to unrest. Moving on, amid rising threats to migratory birds across southern region of Nepal, conservationists have conducted a water bird census. The census is being carried out to assess the status of migratory and native species to birds in Nepal's Rapti River, including nearby wetlands. Rojina Rai, with our local correspondent Dasrat Gimiri, explains more.
Conservationists in Nepal have identified several emerging threats to migratory birds across the country's southern region. The migratory birds coming from countries such as Siberia, China, Myanmar, Mongolia, Russia, Korea and Thailand are threatened largely by humans. To better understand this crisis, Dang district in south has initiated its annual scientific census of water birds. Dang serves as an important wintering site for both native and migratory birds arriving from various regions, including the Arctic region. Species such as geese, gulls, and other water-dependent birds are commonly recorded during the winter season. The census aims to document the number of birds, species diversity, and habitat status in Nepal's rivers, lake, ponds, and wetland ecosystems, with a specific focus on Dang. Conducted under Bird Conservation Nepal, BCN, the survey is part of the country's nationwide annual water bird monitoring program. The data collected is expected to inform national conservation planning and wetland management efforts. The 2024 Asian Water Bird Census, AWC in Nepal, identified positive signs with more than 53 species recorded. However, migratory birds continue to face threats such as habitat loss, pollution, human disturbance, hunting, and climate change. Nepal is home to over 200 native bird species that depend on wetlands and water bodies, of which around 100 are migratory.
International updates coming up next, but before that, let's have a quick recap of the top stories. Sushila Karki-led government marks its 100 days in office. Government formed after Gen Z movement promises of timely elections and accountability. RSP Chair Lamisani released from custody. Former Home Minister freed after completing formalities following High Court order. Nepal's president issues First Amendment ordinance for House elections. Legal amendment done to ensure population-based inclusive representation. Nail-biting cold sweeps Nepal as temperatures plunge. Seasonal flu cases rise and schools shut down. Tarai districts hit hardest. US to end diversity visa lottery. Policy shift hits global applicants. 75 more Nepalese deported under Trump administration crackdown. And AFC fines ANFA $2,000 for causing delay to start of its November 18 match against Malaysia. Malaysian Football Association also slapped fine. European Union leaders have reached an agreement to provide Ukraine with a €90 billion loan after failing to secure consensus on using frozen Russian assets to fund support. The deal was finalized after more than a day of negotiations at a summit in Brussels. EU leaders said the loan package would help cover Ukraine's military and economic needs over the next 2 years. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had pushed for the use of approximately €200 billion in frozen Russian assets. On the other side, Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that there would be severe consequences if the European Union uses frozen Russian assets to finance Ukraine's efforts to repel Russia's military assault. The warning comes amid ongoing debates within the European Union over whether frozen Russian assets should be redirected to support Ukraine's military and economic needs. Now, Bangladesh has been rocked by widespread unrest following the death of Sharif Osman Hadi, a prominent youth leader of the country's 2024 pro-democracy movement. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Dhaka late Thursday and into Friday, demanding justice for Hadi, who died in a Singapore hospital from gunshot wounds sustained in an assassination attempt last week. The interim government has declared a day of mourning and deployed police and paramilitary forces amid fears of further unrest ahead of national elections. Protesters have blocked highways, set fire to political offices, and vandalized properties linked to the former ruling Awami League. In Dhaka, crowds gathered late into the night, while in Rajshahi, an Awami League office was torched. In Chittagong, the residence of a former minister was attacked, and demonstrators blocked a key highway connecting Dhaka with Myeongdong. Farmers from the Rural Coordination Trade Union of France sprayed cow's blood on a facade of the Tran-et-Garonne prefecture in Montauban in southern France. This comes as part of a dramatic protest against the French government's cattle culling policies. The protest comes amid widespread frustration among French farmers over mandatory culling measures imposed to prevent the spread of bovine diseases, including bovine tuberculosis and other contagious livestock infections. Farmers argue that the policies are overly aggressive, often targeting healthy animals and causing significant economic and emotional strain on rural communities. France, the European Union's largest agricultural producer, has faced recurring tensions between farmers and government authorities over disease management and livestock health regulations. EU rules require member states to contain outbreaks of certain animal diseases, but farmers across Europe have increasingly voiced opposition to what they consider excessive slaughter orders and ineffective disease control measures. Heavy rain and stormy weather swept through Saudi Arabia's capital on Friday, covering Riyadh's skyline in thick fog and leading to the closure of schools across the city and nearby regions. The National Center for Meteorology and CM issued a weather warning for Riyadh and Diriyah effective from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m., forecasting severe conditions, including strong winds, near zero visibility, hail, flash flooding, and thunderstorms with lightning. In response to the hazardous weather, the Riyadh Education Department suspended in-person classes for the day, moving all instruction to remote learning platforms such as Madrasati and other approved systems. Education officials said the decision was made based on official meteorological reports and reflects a precautionary approach to protect students and staff amid unstable weather conditions. Business news coming up next after a short break.
TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance signed binding agreements on Thursday to hand control of the short video app's US operations to a group of investors including Oracle, Silver Lake, and the Emirati investment firm MGX. The deal, which is set to close on 22nd January, would end years of efforts by Washington to force ByteDance to sell its US operations over national security concerns. It is in line with a deal unveiled in September when US President Donald Trump delayed the enforcement of a law that would ban the app unless it was sold. Under the agreement, ByteDance will retain 19.9% of the business, while Oracle, Silver Lake, and Abu Dhabi-based MGX will hold 15% each. Another 30.1% will be held by affiliates of existing ByteDance investors, according to the memo sent by Chief Executive Shou-Zi Chu. The deal comes after a series of delays. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order that will expand access to cannabis. The order directs the U.S. Attorney General to reclassify cannabis from a Schedule 1 narcotic to a Schedule 3 drug, placing it under the same category as Tylenol with codeine. Cannabis will remain illegal at the federal level, but classifying it as a Schedule 3 narcotic would allow expanded research to be conducted into its potential benefits.
For decades, this action has been requested by American patients suffering from extreme pain, incurable diseases, aggressive cancers, seizure disorders, neurological problems, and more, including numerous veterans with service-related injuries and older Americans who live with chronic medical problems that severely degrade their quality of life.
The Indian Parliament has passed a nuclear energy bill. The bill, also called Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill, or the Shanti Bill 2025, marks a significant policy shift by opening parts of the nuclear energy sector to private participation for the first time. The bill seeks to constitute the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board and establish the Atomic Energy Redressal Advisory Council. The Shanti Bill proposes a unified law governing the production, use, regulation, and expansion of nuclear energy and ionizing radiation in India. One of the biggest changes proposed in the bill is ending the effective state monopoly over nuclear power generation. The bill is closely linked to government's ambition to scale India's nuclear power capacity sharply over the next 2 decades, including through the development of small modular reactors and indigenous reactor designs. Australia will launch a national gun buyback scheme following the mass shooting in Bondi Beach, Sydney. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced the plans on Friday. An estimated 4 million firearms are currently in the country. The Prime Minister said that the government would work with states to target surplus, newly banned and illegal firearms, with a cost to be shared between the federal and the state governments. The buyback would be similar to gun reforms introduced soon after the massacre in 1996 in Tasmania's Port Arthur, after a lone gunman killed 35 people, which prompted authorities to implement some of the world's toughest gun laws. Following the Port Arthur massacre, Australia announced a gun buyback scheme and secured the surrender of about 640,000 prohibited firearms nationwide. The total cost of compensation to owners was about $201 million US.
Time for sports update. The final of the South Women's Club Championship will take place tomorrow as Nepal's APF Football Club faces India's East Bengal club. The match is scheduled for 5 p.m. Nepal time at Dastrat Stadium in Tripureshwar, Kathmandu. At today's pre-match conference, both teams expressed their determination to claim the title. APF player Anita Basnet said the team is ready for the final and aims to win the championship for the very first time, emphasizing that they are representing their country as well as their club. APF coach Jivesh Pandey added that the team has worked on improving weaknesses identified during the league stage ahead of the final. East Bengal's coach and captain also stated that they will play to achieve their goal of winning the title. The championships of the SAF Women's Club Championship will receive a prize of $10,000, while the runners-up will be awarded $5,000. African football's top teams and biggest stars are set to take center stage as the CAF Africa Cup of Nations 2025 begins in Morocco on Sunday. Defending champions Ivory Coast will aim to retain the title they won in 2023, while host nation Morocco, along with Egypt and Senegal, enter the tournament as pre-tournament favorites. The competition will bring some of the continent's most prominent players, including Mohamed Salah, Ashraf Hakimi and Victor Osimhen. Set to feature, the tournament will open on Sunday with host nation Morocco facing Comoros in the opening match. A total of 52 matches will be played during the competition. Time now for the weather update, first from Nepal and then from around the world. Now, before we wrap up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. Sushila Karki-led government marking its 100 days in office. Government formed after Gen Z movement promises of timely election and accountability. RSP Chair Lamitani released from custody. Former Home Minister freed after completing formalities following High Court order. Nepal's president issues First Amendment ordinance for House elections. Legal amendment done to ensure population-based inclusive representation. Nail-biting cold sweeps Nepal as temperatures plunge. Seasonal flu cases rise and schools shut down. Tarai districts hit hardest. US to end diversity visa lottery. Policy shift hits global applicants. 75 more Nepalese deported under Trump administration crackdown. And AFC fines ANFA $2,000 for causing delay to start of its November 18 match against Malaysia. Malaysian Football Association also slapped fine. That is all for the moment. Do join us through our social media and visit us at www.nepaltelevision.com for more information and news. I am Ipulagi Singh Lama. Thank you for watching. Good night.